live.
New center channel.
And we alive.
Welcome everyone to the 40?
Yep,
40th edition
of my life. Yep.
of the Home Theater Hub. Yeah, 40 weeks with these guys. It's been fantastic so far. So as you can see, we have our special guest returning, Mr. Scott Newby. Bass brings us together from Living It with Scott and Kat. What's going on, Scott?
Hey man, it's cool to hang out with you boys again. I got to admit, it's a lot more fun in person when we're hanging out at the audio show and the bars and stuff. But I guess this just has to do, right?
Yeah, man. I definitely need to make my way up to your neck of the woods to check out the Bass Brings Us Together event. I've been wanting to go, so I know that you announced some an event upcoming, but not sure. Not sure what your plans are through the rest of the year, but I definitely want to try to make it up there. I know Paul has made it to your theater, and you're 150. What are we up to? 158, 156 dBs now.
Yeah, 156. When Paul was here, we were doing demos like in the high 140s. But yeah, we tap out right about 156 right now. It's the absolute max.
Man, that's just incredible.
That's just crazy.
That is wild. That is for sure. That is wild.
That's rearranging your guts right there is what that's doing.
Yeah, we wanted to build something that would literally scare you, and I think we're about there. There's a lot of stuff going on in this room right now. Actually, you see, I got a special guest with me, as I'm a special guest on your show. But I hang out with this JTR 210 all the time. I drag it all over to work with me through the house and bed. But
I saw that you just made an upgrade to those JTR 210s. How are you liking them? I know you got it set up as a 2-channel right now. I mean, just the left and right for that, correct?
So I bought 3 of them. I mean, the whole room's still Dolby Atmos set up. I'm just with the other JTR speakers that I had, the 228s. I just had left and right. This is the center. I ordered a screen, acoustic screen from Seymour a couple of weeks ago. Once that gets in, then this will go behind the screen. And then I'm in the process of just ordered 2 more of these for side surrounds. And then just my whole bed layer will be all the new JTR line, the 110s and the 210s. And changing over to an acoustic screen will be a huge improvement in this room. And then probably next year I'll do the RTJ in ceilings for the Atmos and get rid of these clips. But baby steps, man, with all this stuff, buying 3 speakers, 2 speakers, a screen. You know how that shit goes. It gets these speakers though. I heard a prototype of these because I had no plans of changing out my 228s until I heard these, and it really they really blew me away. So I had to make the change. The 228s I had for about 4 years, but they were a 15-year-old design. That was one of JTR's initial launch speakers. So a lot of stuff with the crossovers with the drivers, the actual design has evolved so much in the last 12 or 15 years. And once I heard these, I just couldn't get that sound. So
and look,
yeah, man.
Look who the bass brought.
Man,
he felt it all the way over in California.
That's right. That's right.
What is that?
What's going on, everybody?
On the bass Richter scale or whatever it's called.
It's just another earthquake day. No problems here.
I know, right?
Go ahead, Scott.
Oh no, let's welcome the other guest here.
What's going on, Brett?
Oh, not too much, you guys. Happy to be able to be on here. Good to see everybody. Getting a little pre-CEDIA introduction here. So like I said, having a good time. I just actually had Joe Klesnick just left my house. He was over here dropping off about, I don't know, 600 movies that I had that I let him borrow. Not that he was getting any free discs to download onto his Kaleidoscape, but like I said, we, I had so many of them through the years that we've all collected, right? And then as you go in, I have my Kaleidoscape. So then it's, I did the disc to digital on, I haven't bought all of them maybe, but like, a good portion of them. And so, now the discs kind of sit archived in a box just in case. And, Joe lives about 20 minutes away from me. So, we were chatting the other day and we said, okay, take a look through, see if there's anything you like. And we'll, kind of play around from there.
Heck yeah. So if those of you that don't know, Brett is from Factnatics. It's a YouTube channel that he just started up, and then also he owns a business, Market Makers, right? Right, Brett. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So, I've been in the industry about 25 years. If anybody has been on the West Coast, I got my start working at Good Guys stores. So, kind of a regional guy like a Tweeter, any of those kind of guys that you see. And we're, had a passion for it. Loved the industry, and then got recruited to the manufacturing side. I built some, project management groups, ran product development, ran biz dev, built the first Beats by Dre headphones, worked at Bowers and Wilkins, built Harmony remotes. It's been a blast of a career. And then my last spot was at Kaleidoscape, where, now generally what I do is build training programs. So, training certification programs, typically for the integrators. So that's the market maker. That's the, let's say the business side of what I do, that at least pays for some of my equipment. And then, really after this last one, we have some industry awards called Quest for Quality, which are kind of cool because they're voted on. You can't apply for them, so you can't pay to get in. You can't do anything like that. And they're written in. So your name has to be written in by the integrator. So it's kind of a nice one because it means that they're actually paying attention and think that you're, trying to help them with their business. And so then, like I said, I kind of started Market Maker and went out on my own. And so now the goal is to help smaller businesses, smaller manufacturers that maybe don't have the funds for a big marketing team or a big training team. And I help them to build good training certification programs so that hopefully, when we go in there as consumers and we want to know the latest, that they know hopefully as much or more than what we know. Right. And that's changed, frankly, a little bit through the years, as I'm sure most of us that actually do pay attention and have a passion for it. We find that often we seem to be a little bit more in the know because we're watching the forums, we're watching the videos, we're doing all that stuff. And so really what my business does is try to convince manufacturers for much smaller than if they were going to, pay for it themselves or, had to hire full-time people. I help them build those training and certification programs so that integrators can be, can learn about it as well as consumers. So, and then that's kind of where the Factnatics side comes from, was wanting, FAQs, right? So frequently asked questions. And the idea is, I've got all this stuff. I'm working with all these manufacturers. I'm an expert or have been trained and certified in most of the technologies, control, lighting, shades, all that kind of stuff. In addition to home theater, CEDIA, ISF, HAA, whatever's needed. And so the idea was, well, hey, what if I shared some of that knowledge, at least a base level? Because as we also know, and I only come onto the shows that I like, so I think you guys do it right. But the idea is, anybody with an opinion can be in a forum, or create a channel. And there's a lot of what we see that's not accurate, right? And so, the idea was creating a place where if I have a question or I'm not sure, I probably have the answer. And if I don't know, I don't make something up. I literally go to the engineering expert at that company, who would know it, right? And so that way, anything, the hope is that everybody feels like anything that I say out there or put out in a training is accurate and and meant to inform. So, and I have a blast doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Brett's YouTube channel. So make sure that you guys head on over there and subscribe. There's some very interesting videos going on over here. So
there are some good ones. So I've done some work with Anthony Gramani, as most of us know who he is. If you if you've been on any channel, he's usually been somewhere and and talking about acoustics and speakers and such. And so you can actually see him right there in that bass management. But that bass management video, I posted up and it had 14,000 views in like 30 days, on a brand new channel that nobody knew about. So, like I said, and then I've got one on there on the CEDIA booth last year. So that's the third one over from the left, is literally shows like we're showing schematics and drawings on how we built that theater room. So, it's a great video to be able to, kind of take a look. If you have questions, right? We all have questions like, where do I put the acoustic panels? Well, it's a little bit different on every room, but you know what? Here's something that kind of gives you some general guidelines to take a look at. So, good quality content on there. The lighting stuff, we don't always, so many of us get super deeply engrossed in just the home theater side. But I've got lighting training in there. As soon as we get back from CEDIA, I'm going to be doing all the shades in my house. So then I'll have some shade tutorials and a couple brands. And the idea is discuss the concepts or the category kind of generically, agnostically. And then also because, people want to know, but what should I buy? What should I do? So then I've kind of done the due diligence on some of these brands. And the idea is to have kind of a best, better, good so that people can figure out, okay, what features do I need? What price point do I have? And then you can get some general recommendations on, on stuff that fits in that area.
So I'm going to kind of segue this a little bit. Do you do any work with JTR currently? I do not. Obviously, I got to hear their stuff at M-Wave, and it was pretty crazy. And I've been looking at possibly I want to see, be it CEDIA or sometime afterwards. I'd love to be able to check out some of their subs. And as I build my home theater here, then I'm looking for some stuff. And I don't want to just have the most expensive stuff, or like I think JL is a great brand, and I grew up on JL subs in the car, and and creating building custom boxes and all that kind of stuff, which I know Scott likes because you're kicking off your inaugural
first
show, right? Yeah, so I've been watching that. So but no, I like I said, I love the brand. I know it's a forum favorite. Obviously, are they just direct, or do they sell through dealers a little bit too?
Well, no, JTR is internet direct, and then the RTJ is their dealer line. Slightly different products, but that's their dealer line. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw there, but Scott was massaging the the new 210 over there.
Well, I seen Tony put "Who's the Sexy Babe." I mean, last night I had a cat next to me. Tonight I got this.
There you go.
I'll rub on anything that's sitting next to me. So watch that when you come on over.
There you go.
Still has her clothes on, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, that's on OnlyFans, Ike. You're subscribed to it. You'll see it.
Just don't touch the ports when you come over, Mike.
Did the JTR speaker make 55 million like Catch Me Outside did?
Hey, let's give a quick shout out to the chat. Thanks for joining us tonight. I see we got Jeff, C Big, Slyphonics Audio. Who else we got? We got Reach. We got SOWK.
Yeah, that's Tony. That's actually Tony from JTR.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for joining us, and let's have fun tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go.
Definitely.
Well, JTR, reach out if you need some training help.
I know, right? Hey,
but
I don't mind trying some JTRs, man. This thing's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, look, I want stuff that people are going to buy, that people can afford, right? It's a blast to see the big stuff, and there are people that are going to buy that. So bless them for being able to, and I got no problem with that.
Yep.
But at the same time, I want stuff that is quality, so I know I'm going to pay for it. But maybe isn't just the highest, especially if, like in my theater, they're going to be hidden behind cloth walls. So I don't really, So paying for, like when I was at Bowers and Wilkins and running product for them, like, you take a pair of 800s and they're amazing, but people get confused and think, well, that's $30,000 for a speaker. Well, no, it's $30,000 for 40 layers of wood that are, turned on 90-degree angles and compressed together and then bent around. And that takes a lot of money. And then used to be hand sanded. Now there's a layer of hand sanding. And then they have a machine because it's even more precise. And, those are the things that you pay for. And it's done in England. Those things are great. And it becomes jewelry like anything else, right? But yeah, that doesn't change the driver and the sound and the speaker and, and the crossovers and everything else in there. You can obviously get that same quality in a much lower cost item. And especially if if it's being put into a more general box. So,
Yep.
So Scott, let's talk about the speaker you got there. You said you purchased 3 of them, right? So, and then you're just waiting for an acoustic transparent.
Yeah, so I'm using the first 2 I received all 3 at the same time. I'm using 2 currently still with the smaller JTR center channel. Once Seymour gets my screen shipped out, then this will be the 3rd one. And I'll have another pair coming for the side surrounds. So then that'll change the base layer over, because I used to have 5 of the 228s, which was very close to this. But for the 2025 version, which this is the first pair, and I know there's a couple pairs out in the wild now because he just released these, but all new drivers, all new crossovers, all new compression driver. And if you've ever seen like the crossover, everything Jeff builds everything by hand. I've been through his shop multiple times, and you're holding his crossovers with both hands. It isn't just with one hand. And basically, it wasn't that the other speakers weren't loud enough. Because they were 1,200 watt RMS, and I'm in a 14 by 16 foot room, and now these stepped up to even 2,000 watt RMS. But when you play them extremely loud, how a lot of our demos end up going is they're very, very smooth on the top end. And, a pair of these, and it's unbelievable, keep up with 1818s when we're doing 155 dB demos.
Wow.
That's crazy. Quickly, what screen did you order from Seymour?
I ordered a precision acoustic screen, and it will be, if you're familiar with my room, because a couple of the tours I did. So right now I currently have a 130-inch screen. It's going to come 16 inches more into the room, and we're dropping down from a 130 to a 120. So I'll still. So
is it going to be retractable, or is it going to be a permanent?
No, it'll be permanent. Well, I'll make it. I'm probably going to end up putting like shocks and stuff on it, so I can lift it up to the ceiling, so I can
So you're
kind of like a Ant-Man deal.
You're building a baffle wall.
Yeah, because I didn't want to make the room any bigger, because if I make it bigger, then I got to get more subwoofers.
Ah, come on.
Wait a minute. That's the opposite of what I thought you were.
That's right.
That is not what I was expecting you to say.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wait, what?
Well,
JTR is going to help you open up the walls a little bit more.
Right?
Yeah. What's
Jeff,
more
just go ahead and ship the subwoofers. Just send 2 more.
Well, we were contemplating moving up to 2018s, but the problem is during the heaviest of demos, we do blow the 200 amp breaker for the house.
Wow. So there's an easy fix for that. They make 400 amp breakers.
Tony's saying make the room bigger. That way he's got a few scales in his back pocket.
Those are
I'm not seeing the negatives here.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to shove 2 butter knives in there.
At this point, just plug the theater room directly to the grid. Just plug it. Just call your city and just plug that room directly to the grid. And they're going to charge you.
And your neighbors probably aren't using all their power. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you
neighbors got candles, man.
He's got it buried from under there. From his neighbor's house to his house, so you don't have to pay that electricity bill.
That's right. If the growers could do it before, you could do it too.
I know, right?
You know what blew me away, especially at the cost, because I have the RTJs upstairs, and those are some of the best speakers I've ever heard. That's why we ended up buying them. is, for these being $2,000 a piece, and if you buy 3, you get a discount. But I host almost every month. There's people coming over every month, and we were listening to like a lot of acoustic Nora Jones and Nils Lofgren and that, of just 2-channel, no subs or nothing. And I don't know. These are going to be hard to beat in that $2,000 range. They're not only will they play as loud as you could ever stand, and they stay crystal clear, but they really provide a great sound stage of any. We listen to a lot of EDM, a lot, like we were listening to Ozzy and Metallica, like I said, Nora Jones, Nils Lofgren. We were listening to some Skrillex, and no matter, everybody was very, very impressed with them, and so am I. I mean, that's why I ended up going to get 5 of them. So
Do you listen to some Avenged Sevenfold? It would sound great on that speakers, man.
Oh yeah. Me and Kat, we listen to any and everything. So, see, and I'll touch on this subject because I can only hang out with you guys for about another 15 minutes. Is I got a lot of questions of, well, if you dropped all that money, how come you just didn't spend more and go with their 3-way models? Now, obviously, and to my ears too, the 3-way model is a better speaker, but we have the RTJs upstairs, and that's where we do all our critical, all our live music, all our acoustic. That's where we listen to all that stuff, is on the 2-channel setup upstairs. But in the theater, where we're mainly watching movies or watching a Blu-ray concert or something, and there's 11 speakers going and 18-inch subs, and it's cranked up, I don't think I could appreciate the difference between a 2-way and a 3-way speaker with all the Atmos and all the effects going on. I mean, they sound really, really good on music. They sound awesome on the movies. If I only had one room to do both in, then I would have went with the 3-way models. But I mean, I saved $5,000 over the 3-way models that I could put towards a new projector, or put towards a vacation, put towards Cat's Jeep. We've been building up the system in our Jeep. I don't think that I could have appreciated going with the 3-way model after hearing these 2-way models. But if somebody says, hey, I'm going to use my room for everything, including critical listening, then I would look at doing a 3-way model.
So those of you that aren't familiar, go ahead and pop up Scott's YouTube channel there, Ike. Those of you that aren't familiar, Scott's fairly new to this, and his channel has really taken off already. What are you, about 8 months in, Scott? Something like
yesterday
that?
was our 10 months.
10 months,
Dude,
yeah.
So 512 videos, man, in 10 months.
Yeah, but most of the naughty videos you need a secret password for.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so if those of you that haven't gone over to his channel, make sure you go over there. He's not only is he doing audio, but he's doing life too, right? That's why it's Living It with Scott and Kat.
Yeah,
he's talking.
We're fortunate to, we go out to Vegas, we go to Mexico. Because I don't have much free time as it is. If we were, Youth Man, which everybody's familiar with, Youth Man, he talked me into pretty much, he came to a couple of our events. He goes, man, you have to start a channel. The community needs to experience this with you. I said, well, I don't have much free time. I already got a lot of time away from Kat. So if we're going to do something, let's do it together. So, so we just kind of do everything together.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a great idea to involve your wife. And, my wife could care less about this stuff. So that's the reason why she's not involved.
I just like your internet wife. So, I mean, you're spending time with them.
There you go.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, I jumped on last night, got in the comments a little bit, which prompted Scott to remember us. So no, I'm just no. I actually texted him the other day. I felt bad too because but Friday afternoon, my wife calls me and she's like, I think I messed up. I'm like, what do you mean you messed up? She said, well, I cleaned the refrigerator out and the sink is all blocked up. I'm like, well, did you dump the stuff in the sink or did you dump it in the trash can? And come to find out, she garbage disposal pretty much everything that was in the refrigerator. So
I never called you back.
No, $500 later, I had to have a professional come snake out the. I don't think there's anything that you could have done. I had a snake and everything like that. I couldn't get it to work with my drill.
I could have been there for emotional support or something, man. What kind of fucking
Yeah,
helped him-
maybe you could have.
with
Maybe
his
I could have
drywall.
cussed at you instead of my wife.
with his drywall. You could have
There you
helped him
go.
with the drywall or something.
I could have drank a beer and run my garbage disposal in unison with you.
Yeah, this is what it's supposed to sound like, Don. You hear that?
That's right. Does it sound like this?
Over
Yeah.
here.
No, you're still screwed.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you know, you live and you learn. So whatever. She knows not to do it anymore.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, that's just for leftover stuff. That's not an actual trash
Yeah.
can.
So needless to say, the pipe got a little clogged up. You know, and like I said, I had one of those drill snakes that went like 25 feet. Wouldn't touch it, dude. Didn't even come close. The guy had to come with the
Suction or
professional
whatever. Yeah.
professional snake. I think he hooked it up like 40 feet for that thing to finally unclog. So,
Wow.
but yeah.
It probably needed cleaning, so we'll just chuck
Yeah,
it to
I
that.
mean, that's what he said. You need to do this for regular maintenance anyway, every now and then. So, I don't know. But yeah. So that's I felt bad because I'm like, hey, dude, I got a plumbing question. He's like, I'm with a city inspector. I gotta call you back.
And I forgot all about and Kat teases me all the time because I usually get between 100 and 200 calls every day. And she won't even ride with me sometimes during the day, or like we won't even try to go to lunch because I'm just on my phone the whole time. But then now I feel like shit. Thanks.
No, man.
I forgot
No.
about
There's not shit you could have done, to be honest
There
with
you
you.
go.
Know?
There you go. You
I mean,
can feel better. Just write him a check for that for that bill.
It's all good, Scott. Your schedule is clogged up, so we know.
let me split that bill with you, Don. I feel real bad.
There's nothing that you would have been able to do. Just give me a nice home theater tour when I come out there. That's all I ask. So,
There we go. No doubt.
yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be
So
that'll
no,
be a
but
good time. If you ever head that way, man, you'll have to hit me up. I'll have to come up and join you too.
yeah, no, I definitely want to get out there. I think you're all booked up for this upcoming one, and I don't think I have time right now. But as the months, you know, as a couple months go by, just let me know, and I definitely want to come up there and check out your event. So
I mean, honestly, Don, if you got a date or something in mind in the future, shoot it to me. Because any time I post anything publicly, it usually just fills up, you know, within just like a half hour, an hour or something. So if you're like, hey, January 15th, do you think it'd be cool if I come by? Then I'll talk to a couple guys. So there's like 8 or 10 people here, and then we can make a day out of it.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
always packed. The only reason I was able to make it is because one of my buddies booked his slot, and it was going to be him and his wife. And then she backed out, and then I just contacted Scott and said, hey, since she's backing out, I'm assuming I can.
There you go.
Yeah, I just had to go buy more beer. But other than that, we were fine. Once I knew call, we went and grabbed some more beer, and we were good.
Yeah, like, whoa. It's like, oh, hold on. We didn't prep for this.
There we go.
Paul, we were talking about your
elaborate.
evidently. Paul, we were talking about your elaborate pub crawl that you put together for M-Wave. This with schedule time and everything else like that.
Yeah.
We were talking about that yesterday on Scott.
There was an electronics show going on during the weekend.
Nope. There was a pub show.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, show. Paul, when you came up here, I mean, we had a solid 70 people here. I mean, we had a lot of people in the house, man. For those big events, we were been pushing at 50, 60, 70. I think for the next big one, we'll knock it back down to 60, because at some points it was pretty much just shoulder to shoulder all through the house. And that just isn't really, first of all, it sucks for anybody getting a demo, you know. So I think we feel bad when people are like, hey, can we come join you guys? And to just tell, who are we to tell somebody, no, you can't come join the community. So that's why Kat's like, just let a few more come. And we bumped it up to 70. I was like, it felt like a few too many.
Yeah, and I see what you mean, but it is nice to have that a lot of people, just because, you know, you can always, you know, find someone else with similar mindsets the more people you have. But yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it comes to a point to where now I'm just like, oh man, it's like, man, I can't get to the beer cooler. That's not cool.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, hand me one over there.
Somebody's sitting on it. There's no more chairs, Paul. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there is a certain point where it's like, now we're affecting stuff.
Dag on it, all the purple haze beer is gone.
Yeah.
There you go. But no, I mean, we had the same issue, you know, last year in Sound Room 10, right? So we had 2 rows of 4, so 8 seats. And then because we knew so many people were going to be going through, I mean, we had more than 850 people come through, and you know, in the 3 days at CEDIA last year, we ended up putting director chairs in the back. But the problem is, if that room isn't long enough for it, those director chairs were up against the back wall. So you know, you were pretty much, if you weren't lucky enough to get into that main listening position, you were now up against the wall, right next to a subwoofer, which is cool, but doesn't work. Right now, you can't hear anything, or you're all the way on the left side, or you got a rear surround, you know, a foot from your head. So it's tough. You know, you want as many people as possible, but at the same time, you want them to have a good experience. You don't want them coming out going,
Yep.
well, yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool, but you know,
Yeah.
so we
want
fixed that.
Doesn't matter how awesome a speaker is, if you're sitting a foot away from it,
You know, or that's
It's
the only
like,
one you can
oh.
hear, right? You know, it's oh, there were 11 other speakers. Yeah, I didn't hear them.
Yeah, exactly. There's a physics
You know, but
thing.
yeah, I heard the hell out of this one, and it sounded really good. But yeah, no, we even so Sound Room 4 for this year. So it's got a few different people in there, but it's so Seymour Screens. It's always their booth, like they're kind of the, you know, the head sponsor in that. It's got Storm Audio again. This year it's got a Shendo. So again, a ton of speakers and some new speakers in there. Christie Projector, with their new, you know, with their yeah. So you know, just it's their 4K 35 or 40 or something like that. It's I'll have to look it up, but
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, so it's a full RGB laser projector. So I mean, it's just nuts in what these things can do. And then Movia Seats, which this is their first CEDIA, but they're they're European seat manufacturer, but their stuff is just supposed to be, you know, super comfy and everything else. So I can't wait to kind of, you know, check it out and see it. And then Lumagen will be in there this year.
That's
so
awesome.
You know, yeah. So like I said, it's been but it's good. But what they did this year, so I just kind of come in and help to build things and whatever else kind of stuff they need. But they extended the booth length, right? So it's the same width, but they extended the booth length so they could get 3 full rows of seating without putting you on the back wall. So I thought that was really kind of cool when they were saying it. So like all the other booths in that area are kind of that same standard size that CEDIA puts together. And then, you know, they paid extra, did whatever they did to actually get like an extra 4 feet off the back of it. Maybe even a little bit more.
I can imagine what that costs, because I know it's like 15 grand just to drop a Ethernet
power
line.
drop.
So
Oh god, yeah, the internet. They're like, well, your internet's gonna suck in the booth or anywhere on the floor. But yeah, for 15 grand, you can you know, have some basic internet for your product. So
yeah,
but,
that 4 feet just cost you 20 grand. But okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and I'm sure it did. You know, luckily that's where, you know, some of these guys like in those booths, they get smart. They partner up together, right? So they can get some really cool tech. You know, they're still spending you know, an awful lot of money on it. You know, but they're able to kind of pool it together, so they're able to do a little bit more.
Yeah, that audio cables cost a lot. 15 grand.
I'm happy to see that that you got Lumagen in there, you know, because they've, you know, Mad VR really, when they started introducing their stuff, it really took off, and I'm glad to see that Lumagen is
I mean, they've always been one of those kind of grassroots kind of, you know, word of mouth brands, right? And their stuff's always been great. You know, Mad VR came out, and you know, again, good friends with Joey and, you know, and Rick and all those guys. So again, great product. You know, but it was always, you know, twice as much, you know, and so, you know, obviously last year they were everywhere. I say they pulled a Kaleidoscape, right? Because that's what Kaleidoscape. I remember when I was there, we'd be calling all the vendors, who needs something for their booth, right? Or somebody would be asking, and we'd make sure all the booths, pretty much got one. For a loaner, and MadVR kind of did the same thing, right? Last year, that was all we saw everywhere. And so, but a lot of these companies, they put in, and again, I'll give them full credit, like for MadVR for doing that, because that's a lot of expense. Even if they're demo units, that's still a lot of expense. Imagine just shipping those things, right? So, but like I said, you get these smaller companies, that are great products and good, healthy companies, but if you don't do that enough. So yeah, Lumagen kind of jumped in this year and came into this booth, which I think is great. I've always been a fan of them. And then and what I always like is like Core's getting all this press because they came out with a $5,000-$6,000 system, right? The reality is Lumagen's had that for years.
Right, exactly.
So it's like, they always have
that's
kind of
that's exactly why they did that, because some people were bringing up that point.
I wonder if they're coming up with something new at CEDIA though.
So Lumagen, I haven't even been fully told on it, but I've heard a few things as I've been in some of the meetings. So Lumagen's supposed to have, I think, 1 or 2 new announcements coming out. Okay. I'll make sure you guys get any of that so that you guys can talk about it to anybody that you want to once it comes out.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I'm excited to see that, and I think they're again coming back to be competitive. Core came in and maybe woke them up a little bit and said, oh, okay, now we actually have competition in this price band.
Yeah, Core shipped into the Core. So.
Yeah, but Jim's a good guy. Jim's one of those straight engineers. Loves this stuff. So I'm excited to see it. I'm gonna try. This won't be until probably end of the year, but I want to kind of put them both head to head. So I want to see if
I would love to do that too.
I'm gonna borrow them both, and then I'm gonna buy the good one.
There you go.
But no,
prior to me knowing that Ryan worked with,
there you go.
Yeah, prior to me knowing that Ryan worked for MadVR, I didn't know that he worked for him. And I was like, hey, do you want me to bring my Lumagen and we could do a shootout? And of course, you don't want to offend any brands, right? So
no.
He said we can do it, but it would just have to be on the low, right? So,
and I brought it up because both, Joey was talking about it. We were talking about my new stuff and some of the content, and and so Joey was happy. Like I said, I always buy my stuff so that it's not sponsored, but then at the same time, been in the industry 25 years, so I said, they'll help me out a little bit because otherwise I can't afford all of it, right? And so so I was going to do that, and then obviously as I started doing some stuff with Lumagen, then he kind of offered the same thing, and I'm like, well, obviously I don't need both of them, but I'm happy to borrow them, and like you said, I don't think it's one's good and one's bad, right?
Correct.
This product is good for this situation. This product maybe has a little bit of an edge in this situation. So, especially if we're comparing a General Lumagen to a Core, then, this is what you want in both situations. And if you, want to be able to see your system remote and watch it on a video, then, now you need the big one. So yeah, like I said, I think it's, it's being objective, not just looking at it from a marketing perspective, but, putting them head to head, seeing what's actually the difference, but then being able to, objectively state, oh, okay, well, this was better on this one. This one is better on this one. You as a consumer choose what piece is more important to you.
Yeah. Hey, Scott, I know you're on limited time, sir. Are you able to spin the camera around so that we can see the other 2 speakers set up? Are we able to see that, or is it going to be too dark in there to get that to see those?
I might be able to. Give me 1 second. I thought you were going to ask me to do a spin around. I'm like, I'm not dressed.
Make sure you got your pants on or something.
Yeah, as he stands up there, right?
I know, man. I don't want to have to block my camera.
Yeah.
All right. I know how you block your camera. You're like, oh, I can't see nothing.
That's right. Let me say
I walked right into that
one. So we got to get Jeff and Tony on here from JTR. We get them to talk about their speakers.
Especially the new ones, right? Jeff, we need you
Yeah.
to come on and,
Yeah, see,
so we can
it's
talk
kinda-
through the new design.
it's dark in here, but you can still see the old.
Yep.
I mean, the 228 center down there. So the 210s. I mean, anybody that's seen a video of my room, they're sitting on the Cab 6000s that are laying on their side just to fit underneath the screen. So on the back here, well, you don't realize how dark it is in these rooms until you try to put a camera on something.
I kind of put you on the spot too. I'm sorry.
Cave.
To the 10s, and then on the back we still. Yeah, I mounted a term lab meter for good in the back of the room now because so many people come. Hey, what did we just experience? What did we hear? So that's what you see sitting back there, and then. So basically. Oh no, I feel like I'm giving myself a tan. So basically, when the rooms, I mean, this should all be wrapped up here in like the next, I don't know, month or two. So basically, what it'll be is there'll be 5 210s, and then the 110s that I already have in this rear, and then we'll do the RTJ 110s in the ceiling. So there should be 18 18s and then 16 10s in this room. So should have a lot of good mid bass, a lot of low end. I measure flight in this room to 7 hertz at about 140 dB. We max out at about 21 hertz at 156. So we purposely built the room to be overkill like that. So I mean, anybody that talks to me about the room, like, hey, you'd be good with 2 subs in this room, way over reference, go down to 8-9 hertz. That's fine. Just the room was purposely built just to be insane. So just for Atmos playback, music playback, whatever we wanted to do, we wanted to have it to be at a very uncomfortable level that people walked out of the room not feeling well.
So the RTJ Atmos, are they on ceiling, or because I know the other ones I know they have the slanted.
Well, they're technically in walls, but I'll be using them as in ceilings.
Okay, I found them here. Let me pull those up because I've not seen them before. So when you mentioned them, that was a new a product that I was unfamiliar with.
If I had the space and the money, I would have done a whole theater in the RTJ series. But I mean, we only did 2 of them, of the big towers in the living room just for 2-channel. But to do it complete,
I don't think I've seen this in walls.
Yeah, I haven't seen them either. That's something. I'm not too familiar with the RTJ line either.
RTJs, they're not. I'm always on the JTR website, not
Exactly.
the RTJ.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
so.
On the JTR page. Oh, nice.
But the towers look a lot cooler. I mean, it's just this will work. And the reason, see, it'd be cheaper for me to do the RTJ, or I'm sorry, the JTR on walls, but because we're fighting for height, the further I can get the speaker away from our head, the better.
Sure.
So.
And those look like you're going to have to brace them in and strap those things down the ceiling, man.
Yeah.
They're heavy too. So yeah. But
so they're going to flush mount to the ceiling, huh? 14 inches
they'll be
deep.
flush mount to the ceiling. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, 9 inches, 9.5, a little over, almost.
Yeah, 10 inches.
Almost 10 inches deep for those.
Yeah, and I think they weigh 30 pounds.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So I believe those are 750 or 1,000 RMS.
Wow.
Yeah.
You could use those as your mains.
I know,
In
right?
most situations, but
That's right. Just sit directly underneath them and
I need to put 3 of them behind my projector screen and be good, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say this could be your in walls, man, right there.
Yeah, that's your LCR right there.
Yep.
So but even to all your viewers or any of you guys, Kat and I are always free, open for hosting. Just hit us up if anybody ever wants to stop by. We got Haterade Cowboy coming in October. That event is already filled up. I'm doing a meet and greet for people that wanted to hang out with him. And the next month we're tied up with the car audio event that we're throwing. And our event in November, I think there might be a spot or 2 open for that. But anybody that's around, I mean, if we're available, we make time. We've hosted to about 500 people so far. So we got a lot of people coming through. And the thing is what we gathered, we've had people from other countries. We just had people come in from India. Is it, we're not sitting in $1 million room. Is people just want to experience a high impact Atmos setup. And, other than having a whole bunch of subwoofers in here, a lot of it's obtainable because you're looking at speakers that cost a couple grand and not $10,000 each or $20,000 each. So for people to come in and experience, well, the RTJ stuff is on the pricier side, but I'm talking about in the JTR setup is you can get some high impact, nice, clear dynamic sound for movie reproduction. And not that any of this is cheap, but it's one of the cheaper options for a high end line. So, I had my whole setup was Eclipse THX Ultra series for years, and I was absolutely in love with that. But I kept blowing tweeters and stuff because pushing them at reference to smaller drivers, they did not like reference, and I got tired of. Like I said last night on the podcast, when I sold them, I had 5 brand new horn tweeters that they went with because when I found out that Eclipse was discontinuing that line, I bought like 8 of them, and but. We've hosted to 500 people, done multiple 150 plus dB demos. I've never had to hit up JTR for one warranty. Yep. Some of the stuff in this room is over 5 years old now too. Beating these subs and these speakers, I've never had a driver replacement, an amp replacement. I mean, so. Yeah, I mean, Paul, when you were here, that was a 10-hour day. This system got ran at between reference and 150 dB for 10 hours.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a testament to how
those things
solidly
can handle
built
it
these things
all
are, man.
day.
Like, yeah, they're built to last. It's crazy.
Yeah.
No, that's impressive. That's impressive.
Yeah,
I
was
actually on their JTR website. I want to say yesterday or the day before, because I do see them when you look in the forums and stuff like that, and especially as I was looking at subs. So I was paying more attention to the subs, but looking for that, like you said, I want good quality. I don't want to have to keep replacing them, but I want something that I can show that's maybe a little bit more affordable, right? Versus some of the heavier duty or the higher end because of the finishes.
Yeah.
And I was going one of the forums and they were just saying, again, it's a great brand. It's just not as shiny as a JL or an REL or any of these guys that are still making good stuff, but you're paying for that extra shine, and often you don't need them, and I definitely don't need them in my place because
what I tell everybody, if if you're looking at building a room and blowing 20, 30 grand, then spend $200, $300, fly out to my house for an afternoon. You can experience all this stuff, and you're going to have a good time anyway, and then you can make your own judgment. I mean, obviously, different rooms produce different sounds, but you can get an overall, expectation of what they're capable of.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I would like to know what the difference between RTJ and JTR is, because, I mean, obviously I'm sorry?
The letters are in a different order.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't understand. They look the same to me. But
are they using better quality parts, better quality crossovers?
Well, so in the 410 speaker, and I got another Zoom call I got to take at 9:30. But anyway, in the 410 speaker, having that huge horn, I believe that horn is the 21 by 21. When you're sitting there listening to it, it's like there's a whole concert in front of you. The projected sound is so extreme. So everybody knows the story because I've told it 100 times. So we've held demos here forever, and we've always brought speakers in, or people sent speakers in for our demos. For people just listen and they get sent back. This was the only speaker that showed up, and Kat said, "Hey, I know we bought this house so you could have your own room downstairs, but these have to stay." She listened to the whole Metallica Black album, the whole David Matthews Band album till 2 a.m. in the morning. And she's like, "These are the most expensive, the most crazy speakers I've ever heard." She goes, "I actually feel like I'm sitting at the concert." And that's the only time she's ever said that. We've auditioned tens of speakers. So that wide band, well, I mean, obviously it's very well known that the compression drivers they use, are in that $1,200 to $1,300 range right away. It's the one of the top of line compression drivers, and everybody knows their subs. Audioholics tear those subs apart. Said it's been one of the best built drivers that they've ever seen at any price range on any sub. So and everybody's familiar, with speaker power amplifiers. That's what drives the subs. Good power, good down to 5 hertz on that system upstairs. Because my microphone's only a couple $100, but I was getting 5 or 6 hertz performance. I know Gene from Audioholics was measuring like 2 hertz in his room when they had him out there. So yeah, the RTJ, see, and they look massive, and they are, but they're slim, so they work good in our living room because they're not 30 inches deep.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Scott. So Richard asks, would Scott and Kat's RTJ Super Towers work in a home theater?
Well, yeah, if you had enough room and enough money.
Yeah, you need plenty of room.
Made the money.
Yeah,
and money.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, if you got the room and the money for sure. I mean, that would be a complete dream system for me. But yeah, so I've had people come out that they're like, hey, I know you got a lot of bass. I don't give a shit about that. I get into a lot of music. If I'm going to drop $30,000 on a set of speakers, can I just drive 6 hours to your house and listen to them?
Yeah.
So, for sure. I mean, I've spent 5 hours in Target before. So, I mean, doing that drive to listen to a set of speakers that I want to live with for 10 years is nothing.
No, I agree. I thought about, so, I'm building all my rooms right now that all have 3 different surround systems. And the idea of part of that is like, here's the various levels. But what I want to do is, people want to come out, then, come out, demo it, that's what it's really about, right? One, you get to share your passion. But 2, if you can show this stuff off and help somebody make a decision, then, that's definitely worthwhile. So.
Yeah, and we order some pizzas, have some beers. Everybody has it's a day of it, and not only did you get to enjoy the community, the hobby, you got to gain some information. So it's a win-win for everybody. And it's funny because that's how we came up with our logo. Bass brings us together, because once we started hosting events, everybody wanted to come check out the bass. So that it's addicting. So
yeah.
I just went to a home theater get together last week, and I try to make it out to as many gatherings as I can. I think a lot of people don't understand how open and cool the community is. A lot of people are just stuck in their basements, and they don't want to look at the outside world, and they think they're a nerd or whatever. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people out in this community that want to spend time with other enthusiasts and enjoy themselves and check out. I've been to so many home theaters that are say less capable of mine, and other theaters that cost 10 times more than mine. I don't care. I got to hear something different. I got to see something different. I got to hang out with somebody for a few hours. And yeah, we all custom tailor our systems to our personalities, but it's so cool to go check out other people's stuff and what they got going on, and how many ideas have we all gotten from seeing other people's rooms. So but this is just an advocate, letting everybody know that is watching this, or any of these, that, if you got to start a Facebook group in your town or your area, you'll get people that want to hang out and just, hey man, you want to come over, watch a movie or a concert, or check out my setup? I want to check out yours. And it don't cost nothing but a couple hours of your time, and you guys will enjoy it. So, all right, everybody, appreciate your guys' time, like always. And we'll all hang out.
It's always fun, Scott. Definitely, appreciate you joining for the little bit of time that you had. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to Scott's channel, Living It with Scott and Kat on YouTube, he's got a lot of lives and stuff like that on there. I enjoy watching. Scott's a funny guy, as you can tell. Talking about spinning and sitting and all kind of other stuff. But
well, you guys run a marathon. I get up at 4 for work. I'll check if you guys are still on. I'll hop back on my way to work.
The after show has happened. We usually try to cut off about midnight our time. So,
there you go.
But yeah, definitely appreciate you, Scott. Thank you. Say hi to Kat for me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You guys have a good show.
Yep.
Have a drink. Have a drink for me.
Oh, right here. Cheers.
There.
All right. See you guys later.
He has got.
Bye.
So I know that Brett's got some interesting stuff going on over on his channel too that I wanted to touch base on, but I knew Scott was kind of.
No doubt, no doubt. I'm just happy to hang out with it. I'm a subscriber of Scott's as well, so like I said, I think it's I try to at least subscribe and support. I don't always find that I have the time to watch everything because there's just so much good content and so many friends that I have, right? So it's like, okay, I want to come on and support and do this and that. I think yesterday I was on with Matt Pose, and the day before with DJ, and then I'm going on. With,
I didn't hear the Matt Pose or DJ one yet. Yeah. I usually wait. So I own a business, and I have to. I load my trailer with product on Saturday, so those longer shows I usually try to just listen to a podcast or whatever while I'm working. I
was talking with Joe Klesnick, right, who's been on a lot of those shows and is always a fan in a lot of them too, and so he was telling me, because he's got a fairly long drive, and at least some of the times where, depending on where he has to go for work, and so that's when he usually listens to like DJs, especially the podcasts, right? And so I love that. My thing is, because I'm working from home, it's such a short walk from the bedroom to my office, and sometimes I feel like I don't leave.
It's a long walk. It's a long drive from my bedroom to my upstairs.
That's right. I don't even go there. Mine's literally the next kind of room over. So, and then I blink, and all of a sudden it's 3:00, and I haven't had breakfast or lunch, and
Oh yes.
And then I blink again, and it's after midnight, especially this last month. So it's been it's been crazy, but we've got some really cool stuff going on.
That's good that you're busy, right? It's better to be busy than bored, right? So
true enough.
I have a question. Is that a Les Paul hanging in the background over there? Or...
So it is not a true Les Paul. It is a Sunburst, but it is actually signed by around there. So it is actually signed by Slash. So I helped him out with some stuff. This was probably 12 years ago plus now, right? And so I helped him out with some stuff that he needed AV wise, and so he was good enough to actually sign the guitar, and then he signed a picture that's up top, and then I just kind of dropped the Guns N' Roses album behind it. So
that's cool.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I was wondering. I was like, usually people don't hang their guitars unless it's really.
So in this case,
I saw there was a signature there, and I was like, wait a minute, if that's the Les Paul, and I was like, what? You got more hanging on that wall than all your theater stuff. What the hell's going on there? But,
no doubt. Yeah, no, it is. It's a lower end reproduction, of it, but it's what he kind of uses to sign, because it looks like it's just a slightly lower end version of his.
Gotcha.
Of the guitar that
cool. But still, the fact that it's signed, that made it amazing. I was like,
it's the signature.
Cool.
Yeah, so like I said, it'll never be sold, and usually I don't ask. I've been fortunate, like through my years working for various companies, that I've got to meet some really cool people that I enjoy. But I always took kind of a position where I get that opportunity. I don't want to totally fanboy on them and like, hey, can you sign something? Can I take a picture? Can I do this and that? Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but like usually I'm trying to conduct some business with them or do something else. So, you're trying to keep like a different line to it.
Yep.
And so, of all the people that I've met, even like Dre, like I've got multiple products that I've done with him. But I've never gotten a signature, but I've been out to a club with them, so it's like, I just kind of take
that would be me. I would be like, yeah, okay, you're famous, but do you like that party? That's how I am. I don't care.
One time.
Yeah.
And guys,
and they're like, who's this guy? Like, it's like, dude, I'm just trying to have fun. I don't give a shit.
Well, it was so cool. So I won't, like I said, I don't talk to many of them, but I'll give you this one. So we're in Vegas, and I think we were there for like an iHeartRadio thing, right? And so there were a couple of us there, and so myself, because I was running product development, and so we ran all the Beats projects, and then I brought 2 of my project managers that were responsible for like project managing each of the, the specific headphones and such. And so we were out there, and so they roped off the section of this, more of a bar, but kind of a, like I said, there's a little dance floor, but it was more just like a kind of a hot bar. And so it was like Jimmy Iovine and Dre, will.i.am, Skrillex was actually spinning. There was just it was just some cool stuff, right? And it's like, but you don't want to be the one to like be taking pictures, because then it's not cool, right?
Yeah,
You're in that spot.
I've been to places where they'll usually have bars where they have 3 or 4 different levels of the bars. And either I've known someone that's known them or something, and I'm up there and I'm like, I don't know who's this, and I won't name any famous names, but it's big, very big, popular bands and people, and you're on the floor with them, and I'm like, I don't know who, and
it's so much, that's so awesome. Much fun. Yeah, it's so much fun with it, and. My career has taken me all those different places and doing different things and all that kind of stuff. And so, but that one was just interesting because, you see all these pictures and you kind of see him, and Dre is, he's straightforward, but he's a nice guy. He's totally professional. As you get in there with them, everybody's having a good time, but the guy is built. I mean, he, it's like that again, 10 years ago. So, he's gotten a little older, he's doing this and that, but the guy is just huge. And so, you just see that, and it's just so cool, and we had one other time, we did a Grammy trip, and I was doing some stuff with Nokia, and they sponsored some things. So we were there, and the day before there was this Grammy party, and that Rock Nation was sponsoring. And so we're in there, and I take my wife, right? So she loves me at that point. It's like, I'm taking her to the Grammys where, it's stuff realistically people don't get to do, right? Right? Yep. And so, I take her with me because, if I didn't take her with me, oh my God, I can't even imagine. And so, we go out there, and the day before there's this party. So we're running around, and then, we've been there for a few hours, and there was even a more roped off section that we couldn't get into, that had some really uber famous. But we're so we're in this other area. We're all having a great time. Everybody's been, we're all out there eating and drinking, and then all of a sudden, Snoop comes out with, a few of his kind of entourage, and so he walks by, and he's got this like super heavy coat on, right? Like fur coat, so it's all kind of. And as he's walking by, we're right there, and as he's walking by to get into this other area, and so he brushes up against my wife. And my wife's like, oh my God, I had a contact high from Snoop as his jacket brushed up against literal.
It's like, wow.
And it was just like, she goes, and it was. I was another 2 feet away from that, but as he walked by, he actually brushed up against her. She's like, oh yeah, you could just smell it on his coat. And,
you just teed this up for me, because this I was literally going to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Prior to you even getting into this whole story. So you actually teed this up for me. Can you share the screen for me, Ike?
Yep. Let me find the screen. I know, right? I'm like,
so what are you smoking to give away a $4,000, $5,000 CEDIA trip? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I know. Well, so last month, you can kind of see it won over, right? So I gave away a pair. So I started, this is a newer channel, and I'm having some fun with it. It's not, I don't expect to get rich off of this channel. I just want to create community. And so, I was doing a review of the PX7 S2Es, right? So the newest Bowers & Wilkins headphones. And I had helped make the design of the PX7 S2. So I was running product development at the time. They had their PX7 had just launched, and it sounded great, but it didn't quite do everything it needed to. And so I pushed for that headphone and that new design, and I actually worked with the designers to build it. And so I wanted to hear it, right? And so I picked up a pair. They had them on sale. And I said, and again, I called Bowers. So they had a sale for everybody, which meant that even their, they gave me a little bit more of a discount. And, so I said, okay, well, if I'm getting a deal on these, I'll buy a pair for myself. And then I'm going to buy another pair to give away, right? And I ended up giving 2. I gave one away at M-Wave, just for M-Wave people. So, you could register there for it. And we had a blast with that. And Taylor won those, that pair. And then I gave away another pair at the end of this last month. And so, again, great guy, Tim Miller, won a pair of $400 headphones. But we had a great time with it, and people were having a good time, and they were, engaging with it, and, leaving comments and all those kinds of things. And so it was fun. And we're prepping for CEDIA. And, I had already started putting some of these things together because, like I said, I don't, I just kind of help out with whatever sound room, Chris Seymour and Storm Audio and all those guys. They're good friends. And sometimes they just need to help with a few little things. Or last year I was there. That was really when I got to meet everybody. I was doing some work with Anthony Gramani. So then that's how I kind of got in there. And so, they wanted some help with some videos and some stuff like that this year. And so I kind of made a deal with them and said, if I do all this and I'll kind of help you guys out, I'd love to be able to host a special event in this room, like stuff I've never seen before, right? Everybody gets to go, and Don knows because I'll walk you around to whatever booths and get you in, and you spend 20 minutes with the CEO of somebody, right, or this or that, and you kind of interview them, right, and that's your CEDIA press coverage. That's how I met Ike, actually. When he was doing some stuff with Youthman, right, and that was CEDIA a couple years ago. And so, I've always enjoyed that, but my thing is, it always feels like, it's still great to do. So no discounting on that, but it's kind of like the same CEO is going to give the same story 10 different times. Right. And, maybe everybody's got a slightly different line of questioning because we all have different, kind of thought processes and what we're trying to capture for our channels, but it's tough to get super into it in 10, 15 minutes. And, and everybody's busy and running around. And so the thought was, well, what if I could borrow the room for the night? 2 or 3 hours. I actually got CEDIA to approve it because you can't just hang out at CEDIA after hours, which we found out last year.
Yeah, I heard that story.
Yeah.
They almost body slammed us out of.
Oh God, that was so bad. And I understand from a security perspective, right? I understand this stuff, but they actually brought out one of their heads of security. And so the story went, I planned kind of the same thing to do last year, and had everybody there. Everybody kind of, a few people caught up and, and this and that. And so we met up. I think we were doing something at Prolux, real quick. And then we walked over there. Well, somebody had gotten to the booth first. And as they walked in, they just had a normal visitor pass. And so security stopped them. And then they're like, hey, I'm with Brett. And so, security stopped, but security then walked over to the booth. And then I come over a couple minutes later with 10 people behind me. And they were just not having it. They're just like, we're going to charge you guys for doing this, and you can't do this and that. And, we're going to charge you. And, they're throwing out these $5,000 numbers. And I'm like, this is just me doing some free fun stuff, right? I can't, and they're not going to charge me because it's not my booth.
Right. They're going to charge the vendors.
Yeah. So I'm going to screw over the vendors and oh, by the way, now you have an extra $5,000 because Brett decided to have some people in your booth. So I said, no, we can't do it. Right. And I ended up buying everybody dinner. Right. So, we all had a great time. And so, it was fun. But then this year I was like, okay, we're going to do this right. If CEDIA wants to do that, they will approve these things. And I understand the need of not having people running around the floor, but I'm like, it's 10 members of press, effectively, who's going to do anything? And so I got approval this year. It took a little while. I got it approved a couple weeks ago. So I was just going to have press in there. And then I was like, well, if I've already got this kind of mapped out, I always watch, and I'm in the forums all the time and trying to chat with everybody and this and that. And so, it's the same as every year for the last 20 years that I've been in there. People are always saying, I wish I could go to CEDIA, right? It's a bucket list kind of thing for most consumers. And something that a lot of us that are in the industry take for granted, oh, it's another CEDIA of 5 to 7 to 10 days worth of work. And so, I was chatting with some people, and I was actually talking with Michael at Youthman, and I said, I was thinking, in the last couple of years, I've always done wherever CEDIA is, if you're local. And so I'll offer the same thing to, for your guys' listeners. If you're a local in the Denver area, or want to get out there, then I'm happy to get you a CEDIA pass, because even that you can't generally do as a consumer, but although there's some ways. But so I was extending that, and then it really just, I kind of said, well, wouldn't it be cool if we actually like flew somebody out? And I'm doing this event in this room. It's now a $1 million home theater, so way past what I can afford or whatever anybody else. But just like Scott said, why wouldn't you want to go see one if you had the opportunity, right?
Exactly.
So, and I'm like, even the people that are there, usually you get like, a 12-minute demo, which is great, but it's content that somebody else picked. It's content, all that kind of stuff. And you don't know where you're going to sit, and you don't, and that's it. Or you wait in line another 40 minutes to try to do it again. And so I said, well, if I'm already getting the room for the night, and I've already got, some great content creators, and I wish I could have everybody there. And I want to enlarge this next year, which is why this year is so important, so that I can actually maybe even hit multiple. We talked, we're talking about pub crawls at M-Wave. I want to do kind of a home theater crawl, and hit a few booths, which is very difficult to do because it's after hours. You need CEDIA permission and this and that. But I'm like, how cool would it be if you could actually go between 3 or 4 of the top demo rooms in one night, right? And so if I did that, then I can actually bring out different members of the group and spread it out, right?
And rotate
Ronnie,
it. Yeah.
I love you, and I could, it's like I wish I could just do this and have everybody, but I've got literally X amount of seats, and
Yeah, I need to get my name on that list at some point. I think it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be great.
And it's the first year, right?
Yeah.
So my thing was, hey, I'm sure all the manufacturers are going to want to pay for this, and and it was so fast between when we needed to do this and like, hey, 3 days from now, literally, I'm going to announce this contest. That everybody's already pre-spent all their CEDIA money. Everybody's 20% over their budget already, and
Right.
And so, but I said, you know what? This is going to be a good idea, and this will grow in the next years. I'm going to do it myself, And so I said, I will foot the bill for it. So it's literally out of my pocket on this. This is my marketing expense for the year. And calling in favors from obviously the Soundroom 4 guys to be able to let me use the space, and I'm helping them with some setup and some other stuff kind of in exchange for that. And we're just gonna have a good time, and it's 3 hours.
You're gonna be at 90 dB so that you don't break anything overnight.
I made a comment in one of my videos, and I'm like, hopefully they made that extra power drop, because we're gonna be pushing this stuff. But yeah, they didn't make me sign any contracts or anything. So no, we're going to have a good time. Obviously I want them to be able to get their demos the next morning. So, we'll try to be careful. But no manufacturers, not that it's a bad thing for those manufacturers to pitch their products. And I know a lot about the different products, so I'll obviously be explaining some stuff, but effectively I've got, 10 content creators that are out there. And then in this trip, so I've got the, you guys have it up in there. So that first, the first top left, and you can see the QR code on there. And so it just talks about the rules, but effectively, you hit the QR code. It's just name and an email, so I know how to get a hold of you. Nothing else. I'm not, I don't do anything with the information. Obviously, hopefully you as you subscribe and do different stuff. But I'm not selling information. I'm not spamming. I don't do any of that stuff. I just want this to be a good community. And so you go in there, there's some additional ways to get some extra entries in there. So most of the real passionate guys are doing that. And at the end of it, so on the 28th, so next Wednesday, so this is a super fast contest. Next Wednesday, I'm literally going to do a drawing. And a winner is going to be flown out. So I'm flying you out on my dime. Putting you up in a hotel. You're going to fly in on Friday, get a little bit of time on the CEDIA floor. At 5:00 when the CEDIA floor closes, we're going to, bring you over, escort you over to Soundroom 4, where you'll be with, 10 of the top content creators and myself. And we're going to do 3 hours of demo and talk technology, what's going on at CEDIA, and Just kind of general talk, not commercial stuff. No manufacturers are there, no salespeople are there. They're just giving me the keys to the place. So, and then, like I said, you'll spend the night, and then on Saturday, I'm going to personally walk you from booth to booth, so that you can experience all the other cool demo booths, right? Because, like I said, this isn't a commercial for SR4. They were just good enough to, let me kind of borrow their room for an evening. So I'll take you and we'll go see Trinov, and we'll go see Grimani just announced that they're doing a room with JVC, which will be a great room in there. There's a ton of good rooms. So, like I said, I'll walk you around. If you want to meet somebody, if you have a favorite brand, maybe you're a Macintosh or Meridian guy or this or that, I will set up to introduce you to somebody. I don't know who will be there. But I'll do my best to get you in front of the CEO or an engineer or, somebody from your favorite brand. So this is something that I've never seen done before in 25 years of CEDIAs and everything else that I've been going to. On occasion, somebody gets flown out, right? I've seen that kind of happen before, but not for a VIP event where literally only 12 people in the world will ever get an experience like this in this room. And it's so limited from that perspective. Like I said, even the brands can't come in and they don't get to, try to bring anybody in. They don't get to bring in their best customer that just bought, $500,000 worth of stuff. This is designed to be pure. It's designed just like this to be talking about stuff.
Yep.
That's what makes it fun, right? I mean, that's what.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about it, you guys. I would appreciate, everybody jumping in. What I want to make sure of, I have not published this out. It's easy to go, okay, well, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and I'm going to pay to get it out there to get more people to sign up, right? But that's not what I want. I don't want some random person who's never heard of CEDIA before. It doesn't
like,
really care.
A $4,000 trip. Yeah. About what? Oh.
Yeah. And so they're just doing it for a trip. Yeah. And why not, right? And if somebody wins, I mean, you're the winner, right? So, fair is fair and what have you. But
I need to go sign up as my alter ego, man.
Please do.
And just show up there as Steven or something. Brett is gonna be like, Steven, what?
Hey, so I have a question.
I won't see anything. If you win, you're good.
For the trip, is it a couple or is it a singular person?
It is singular. I wish, but like I said, this isn't even a money-making opportunity for me. This is literally just coming out of my pocket. So I wish I could do it next year. I originally wanted to do 2 people, but like I said, without any kind of sponsors. So I'm hoping for next year, if I can get a lot of participation, then I can either make it for 2 or I could do something else. Now, you have the hotel room. So if you want to fly out a spouse or somebody else, then by all means, I'll get you the passes in. I'll get you, I'll pay for your dinners and your meals. I'll even find a way to get you in the room if they're into that. Otherwise, they can go explore, Denver while we're doing this. So I'm open to it. I just really I can't afford, airfare for somebody
another
else,
flight.
Yeah. So but yeah, I mean, hotel. Hey, you already got the room. So I'm open to that, but it's not a you and a companion. It's not a couple thing. It is just for the one winner.
It can be. I mean, all they got to do is fly their companion.
Yeah, I mean, depending on where they're at,
I need to check my calendar. I might already be in Denver. That I might have to hit you up
and either way, Paul, you should. Like I said, I'm always happy to just give somebody a pass if they need a pass, but sign up for it. I mean, it's open to everybody. The only thing that I want and what I'm asking for.
There you go, Ike. There's your hotel.
I know,
man. You can
camp.
Right?
You can
camp with Paul.
I don't know if I want to pay all that hotel. I mean, I'm going for fun, right? And I'm not making any money from going to CEDIA. But those hotels are not cheap. This is like
they are not. Well, it was funny, and again, the costs aren't the big concern on it, or aren't the point of it, but. When I bought my hotel room, let's call it 60 plus days ago, right? Because I'm out there on my own. I wasn't working directly for a manufacturer. Most of my CEDIAs I've been, working for somebody. So, so my stuff's covered. So I was coming out on my own. I booked my hotel even before I booked my flight. and I got a hotel that's, like 2 blocks away, like actually pretty close.
Yeah.
And I think it was only like $140 a night. Like I was amazed, right?
Oh, okay.
And it was a decent, like a top level 3-star or a mid-level 4 or whatever, whatever the star ratings are on them, right? But I just need a place to crash at the end of the night.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I
I
want
need
to be there
to
much
IView
anyway.
and find the name of the place because I'm like, man, those things are
Well,
expensive, man.
but
It's
so here's
probably
the
more
thing,
expensive now, though.
So I did that 60 days ago, right?
Yeah,
But that was
that's
before I
true.
was going to do this contest. So I
Yeah.
booked mine at, let's call it, let's even call it 150 a night, right?
Yeah.
But I'm there for 5 nights, so it still cost me $1,000.
Oh yeah, so you're there
stay
much
there.
longer. Yeah.
So instead, so now I'm like, hey, we're going to do this contest. I can't book airfare because I don't know who won, so I don't know where we're going. So that has to be last minute.
Yeah.
But I can book the hotel room because I know somebody's going to win, and I just put your name on it.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
I go
That's
to, I'm looking all over the place. I look at the same hotel. It's $320 a night.
Oh God.
And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't want, this isn't like, hey, you won a trip with Oprah Winfrey and you're flying first class. Like I'll do whatever I can, but like, you're flying coach, same as I do when I go out there. But I'm putting you in the same hotel that I'm staying at. So, I didn't want to like, here's the cheapest one and hey, you're lucky to come out. And at the same time, I can't afford $500, $600 a night. But I was like, wow, from $150 to basically $350.
Yeah, I was looking at them. Yeah, I was just looking at them.
I would
was
totally
like,
hit you up for tickets, but I'm actually on call that week. I'll be in Colorado the week following, starting.
Okay.
So I'm like, wait a minute. I'm thinking, I was like, I'm in Colorado in September, but
there you go.
Like trying to remember. Oh, nope. No, it's not overlapping. So
yeah.
It's it again. There's always something going on where I'm like, can't even make it.
Yeah, no doubt. So, but like I said, it's a great contest. I really want to see it won by
sounds fun. It sounds
by
awesome.
one of us, right? Somebody in one of these forums. So many of the listeners are in multiple forums, in all reality, right? Because we love this stuff where we're watching hours of content. And so this was kind of a way to say thank you and, kind of put something out there that was fun that hopefully can grow in the next couple years. And so, yeah, no cost. There's nothing being sold. There's nothing else. It's literally go in, get as many entries as you can. On the 28th, I'm ending it at midnight Pacific time. I'll do a drawing on the 29th. And then I'm going to sit down with somebody and figure out their flights and where they're coming from
and
to get
tell people how they enter again.
So
share
the
that
easiest
screen
way
like-
is
I'll put a
if you
link.
go to my
I'll put a link
Mathematics
to the
page.
channel too. Yeah, I'll put a link up to the channel.
Perfect.
So Brett, we've
Sign
gotten
up,
you
Don,
like,
and show us
I
how
think we
it's
got
done.
you like six subscribers so far. So
Sweet. Love it.
I was just refreshing it, and when I refreshed it the last time, my camera and everything froze. So that's why I dropped off.
Did I break the internet with this thing, Don?
You're breaking the internet with this already. So, but yeah, I mean,
I appreciate it. And obviously, yeah, I'm trying to get subscribers. That's kind of my piece in this, right? But subscribers for us, I'm at 600 and 690. I had a feeling I crossed 700 tonight. So you guys for only $10 a month,
get them to 700 guys.
You got me an extra
and while you're at it,
0.01 cent.
That's
while
right.
you're at
I
it,
need
get me to 700 too, because I need some subscribers also.
That's right. Well, and that's a lot of this stuff. So what I will do again, because Don and everybody were so gracious to have me on and talk about this. Hopefully that benefits the community as you guys are doing this. Good luck to all you guys. And then what I'm gonna do, I've got a few of them that I'm adding. Sign up, do that. There's a few different ways, subscribing to different channels to get additional entries. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that your guys' channel becomes one of those entries. So, like I said, check back in the next couple days and things like that, because I'll always, my goal is over the next week until it ends on next Wednesday. I'm going to keep adding more and more ways to be able to enter to give you guys more chances. And so I will add something in for you guys on that as a thank you for having me on here and discussing it with your guys. And I just want somebody that appreciates CEDIA and is going to appreciate this trip, to win this. So it's not being published out. As I looked this afternoon, there were only 130 people registered.
Oh wow.
So
Well,
when
yeah,
you look at this,
the video's got like 300. What's it got? Like 334 views. I'm
yeah,
surprised this
334
thing.
now.
Look, share this with all the home theater community. Post it in your
Yep.
Facebook groups. Do everything. Obviously, the people in like Brett said, he wants somebody that knows what CD is. But post it in the Facebook groups. Share it with other Discord servers and stuff like that. That support home theater. So this is what this is all about. It's all about the community. And for some reason, Brett has bumped his head and decided to pay for all this. So
Yeah, right.
This will be the only year. So make it big, make it count, so that next year I can hit up a few people. I spoke in it and it was going after, so I'm not going to say like, hey, they said no. But I even reached out to Daryl over at CEDIA and said, hey, this is something that I'd like to do. I think this would be great, right? This is a CEDIA show. I understand it's not open to the public, but this is the kind of press and engagement that you guys want. And so, we're going to chat about it at CEDIA for something we might be able to do next year. But like I said, I would love to make kind of a home theater crawl out of this or do something else. I think there's some really cool stuff to do. I love to support the industry and the community, which everybody knows. And that's why I appreciate everybody's always good to just kind of have me on. And this is my way of giving back more. So definitely check it out, sign up.
$6.91.
There you go.
We're climbing.
That's right.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Jessica, subscribe. We got to get
That's
700.
right. Everybody, get your spouses, get your kids.
He's like, I don't have a
put it in the
YouTube.
trip. You're taking the
Log
trip,
in.
but make sure that they register for it. But no, it should be a blast. I think it's going to be an amazing time. It is a true bucket list experience because you get 3 hours in $1 million theater. With a lot of other cool people that love talking tech and theaters. And I'm going to walk you around the next day to everybody else, which, you guys get to do that. You guys know how cool it is to be able to, walk into the booths and, and get to interview people and chat with them for a little bit. And, that's kind of what I'm offering, for one lucky winner. So,
That's
it's
fantastic.
Great. Yeah. If you do sign up, so just to your point, Don, about sharing it out, which again, please do. But if you sign up first, there's actually a code in there for referring a friend. And so if you, whenever you refer a friend, if they actually sign up, which I've seen a whole bunch of them in there where they're doing that, I think you get 3 additional entries. So there's actually some benefit to it, right?
Refer you two, you sign up, refer me and I. Can you?
There you go.
Yeah, you can't keep going back to your own email. I'm hoping everybody does it legitly, right? But and if you have a problem, you'll see all my information and post something. I've only had 1 or 2 people, but I did have 1 or 2 people that maybe had their VPNs on and things like that. And because I'm trying to stop I don't want the bots coming in and
Right.
signing up for this stuff. I do have a few security pieces on there. So if any of you have an issue, by all means, just reach out to me and I will, absolutely make sure it gets squared away, because I want everybody entering. It's literally takes less than a minute to enter. And
Well, I'm going to enter. I can't make it, but I'm going to enter. That way, I can give it away again if I do.
Oh, come on.
I'm good for that. Like I said, hey,
Man, that's a sales guy.
You're
Man,
scoring like a true salesman, man.
Yeah, I know.
sounds like one lucky winner.
always be selling.
I'll just slot right in here and be the middleman.
He's like, hey,
I'm gonna re-gift this gift.
that's right. That's right.
No, I won't. I won't enter. I
was chatting with somebody else similarly though, Don, where I was saying, hey, for dealers, give this to your best client, right? Those are the people that you want going out there. I do know, and again, this doesn't apply to too many of your listeners, but from your perspective, and if a dealer signs up or sends the intro or the video to their clients, if I know that they're tied to a dealer, again, I'll give you a call and make sure we're kind of walking them through the right way. And, what can I introduce them to? What are you discussing? Because I don't want to, throw off anybody's discussions or this or that.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
So like I said, it should be good and open. But I guarantee you there's nothing else that I know of. There's no other bigger vendors that are doing this or nobody else. This is kind of a bucket list, once in a lifetime thing that, if I can get a great response this year, which I am, and I just need to continue that groundswell for the next week. I'm gonna push to be able to get a few key, I'll say sponsors because they're donating to it, but like they're not sponsored. I try to keep my stuff unsponsored.
Right.
But CEDIA or somebody else, somebody that will kind of help so that I can send out a few people and make this even bigger and better next year, and get some more winners in there. So
Yeah, that would be awesome.
yeah. So I appreciate it.
692. We're climbing. We are
One
climbing.
by one. I was watching it today, and you could literally, keep seeing people climb up.
Yeah,
and-
you surpassed me. I'm only at 677, so you've surpassed me. But hopefully these guys can find it in their heart to subscribe to.
Your
my channel.
subscribers are like your
I will
drywall.
absolutely
It's
put
slow.
it will be a way to enter. So you will see a spike. I guarantee you will see a spike after this, because all those people that have entered, they'll continue to do it for next week and over the weekend to get some additional entries. So
Yep.
yeah. So
Definitely.
that's the gist of it. Like I said, simple enough. Enter, somebody wins, amazing trip. On my dime, nothing, crazy. I'll get you in maybe economy plus or whatever I can do, because I got to buy these last minute, right? So
what's the Delta one where they feed you and give you a bed and all that stuff?
Yeah,
The Delta Plus.
Oh God.
You got a massage waiting for you in the lounge.
That's right. Yeah, your own private masseuse that comes into the area.
You're flying to Denver, bro.
Well, for me, it's about a 5-hour flight, so it'd be fine.
Yeah, for some people, it is a bit longer, right? So we'll see what's there. Like I said, if somebody happens to be closer, maybe I can give them a little upgrade or do something like that. But yeah, if it's a Florida or a New York,
like that,
but
we should do something like that. But do like, how you have like the yearly, whatever, when people pay on YouTube and stuff like that, the super chats and all that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like a thing where if it, maybe it won't happen that year because there's not enough, just add all that to a thing that like you're doing. It's like, hey, for all these super chats, we're going to, throw in a, someone to win,
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm not doing this as a moneymaker. Even not the contest, but the channel and the rest.
Yeah.
It's just I see people that are constantly asking questions, and there's people that I know and that I know, like you guys, that are giving good answers and trying to educate people. But there's just so much stuff that's out there, and there's so much stuff that changes. Realistically, right?
Well,
so,
and guess what?
It may have been good advice. 10, 15
we're
years
willing
ago.
to be wrong, right? That's it's like, hey,
So,
if you know better, let me know.
Speaking of
man.
things that changes, I go ahead and pop this up. You're just teeing me up today, Brett.
Hey, look at that.
What do you think about this? I know you're kind of planning a theater, right? You're planning your theater. So
I'll start it right after CEDIA. So I'll start building in October.
That is a 30
this is
grand.
the
That is a
seven.
30
This is
grand Epson.
that is a 30
that is
grand
a,
Epson with 10,000 lumens.
This is a Christie. I'm dubbing this the Christie killer. Not because it's any better than Christie.
I hear you.
But this is a pro level, because here's what you don't know.
This is not home.
This is a $30,000 projector. It does not come with a lens.
Yeah. So just
you have to buy the lens. This is a true prosumer projector. They have the 6000 QL, or they have the one below this that's 15,000.
We'll go to those. Yeah.
Epson.
It's basically, there's the QB 1000, I think the 6000 and the
1000, 3000, 7000.
Yeah, and it's basically the difference is 3300, 6000, and 10,000 lumens. The two higher ends are pro level that you have to buy a specific lens for.
Right. Yeah. So this one, the QB 1000, I think it's the all-in-one, got the lens and everything else in it. Right.
It's great for
3,300
like me.
lumens.
Yep, for what I do. But yeah, again, it's the same black level technology though.
Is
It's
it
still
is it
it's
native
still
not
a,
gonna
4K though?
no, it's still a pixel shift.
It's
Ah,
Pixel
still a
shift.
pixel. It's still the
Epson with
four.
3,300 lumens, man.
Shifting. Yep. You know, I don't know. My guess, and I have no knowledge on this at all. My guess is they're using a smaller chip, and that's how they're getting the bright versus a 4K. That's my guess. So it's probably easier to, because your human eye cannot see, 60 hertz frequencies or X. So they're a pixel shifting. People think, oh, it's not painting the whole perfect picture.
Yeah,
It's not
people love to
dark.
rag on it,
No,
but the
it's
reality
But
is
it's
more
like,
about the
you don't understand. You can't
it's more about the psychology of
possibly
it.
see that.
Right.
So my guess is they're doing that lower chip and doing a quad shift because I think they can get more brightness out of that smaller.
I just think it's more
My
about
guess.
it's more about the psychology of it, right? If I'm paying eight
Yeah.
grand for a projector,
I want a
the
4K,
least I
yeah.
want
Yeah, you
is
want
a
native.
4K.
I want native higher than 4K.
But it all, again, to the same point, it depends on how far away you're sitting. It depends on all these kinds of things,
Exactly.
right?
True.
So,
Are you 6 foot
but-
away from your 100-inch screen? Well,
yeah,
yeah.
for a lot of us that are going to be 15, 16, 18, 20 feet away, at least in your prime row, right? Then you're probably not going to really see the difference. Or,
Yeah, but I'm
again,
curious
those same
what is
people aren't calibrating, or they're not doing this and that to even get the most out of it anyways. So
but I'm curious what is holding them back from that. I don't think it's about the
Well, like I
lumens,
said, I
right?
think what I just said, I think that's the only thing. I think they're going for the brightness and the more usable, like 3,300 lumens and stuff like that.
sure.
That's their.
They
but
spent
you
some money
can
to
still
get
do-
this thing certified too. Look at this; it's ISF certified for this.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Well, it's a
Always
true
making money.
3,300 lumens. That's the
Yeah.
one thing that Epson's always. This isn't the 1,800 lumen Amazon
In a pitch black room and
crystal. No, this is all colors at the same time. 3,300 lumens.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's bright, man.
The one thing that's still left off, though,
Right.
that they
And
left off of the last couple models, it looks like the 3D is still left off, though.
Well, also what do you mean left off?
There's no 3D in that.
There's no 3D.
No.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a big
Oh,
no-no
the
for a lot of
lasers don't.
people.
Okay, yeah. Now the other thing is that's a big thing, which this is the only reason I'm interested in looking at the QB1000. They also actually have auto HDR tone mapping now. So it's like, oh, okay, because that's the one thing that I do not like about my 6050. If I go to Dolby Vision movie, it's dark. I have to I got to go adjust the thing.
Yeah,
And
there
I
it
don't
is right
ever
there.
adjust it. I hate
Dynamic
doing
tone mapping automatically adjusts to the optimal HDR
That's
level.
that's the biggie. So basically, you're getting the hopefully Epson contrast, but not or JVC contrast equivalent, but not the black level. So you're going to get a higher brightness, so you'll be able to watch in like my situation, living room with 10-foot windows without.
So let's take a look at the next step up. See what some of the specs are here.
Yep,
So 15 grand. So this would be like the NZ8, right? This
Yep.
would be the
Sure.
comparison to the NZ8.
Sony 5,000, 6,000.
Yep, correct. So we're looking at 6,000 lumens compared to 3,500 lumens.
Yep.
Or 3,000
They
lumens.
are going for a very specific market, and man, if that HDR tone map thing works, like I said, it's going to be a Christie. It's basically a Christie equivalent consumer price. That's basic. Well, it could be. I don't know. I haven't experienced it yet, but man, looking at all these specs, I'm just like, damn. Like, okay, that's cool.
It's ISO rated.
Mhm.
The thing
You
is,
gotta see that black
you got to
levels,
be
man.
careful with
The
you
black
got to be
levels
careful
of the
with lumens.
Christie is
Though.
out of this world.
Mhm.
Well,
It's all relative. How far away? How big is your screen? How
do they measure it?
Yeah, you gotta be able to, and it depends on some people will do their lumens rating on, well, yeah, I can get a shit ton of lumens out of 1 square inch. Like,
Yep. The whole
Wait,
ANSI lumen
Right,
and all
exactly.
that.
Yeah, you need the
gotta
ANSI lumens.
do
Yeah.
10% of the screen size, and that's minimum, because that's where you're. Anyways, you're right. Everyone, it's just that's how the market is. That's how you sell.
You
Numbers.
can
sell.
increase the font on that, Don. You can hit the plus arrow, increase the font. It's a PDF. Yeah.
Oh,
I can't see it, so tell me when to stop.
Okay,
Oh,
stop.
anywhere in there. That's good.
Stop.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean,
All
this
right.
is crazy, amazing. Like it is. Like it's straight up.
So I mean,
You know-
even the $25,000 JVC, which is the new N900, I believe, and that one's at 3,500 lumens, right? So this one is,
Almost
30.
twice.
It's
When I was at M-Wave this year, the guy told me, he's like, "Yeah, just hold out a little bit longer. You'll be happy you did." And I was like,
That's why I'm buying mine last. There certain things like speakers, like they're not going to change, right? Especially home theater speakers. A wall or a screen or something like that. But projectors, it's one of those things that change technologies, relatively often. Every year something new comes out, a better chip, better this and that. So
It's
those are
trickle
always
down
the areas
effect.
where
Yep. And now that they've got the big walls and all these other technologies, it's finally, these are, I mean, yeah, the lumen, 10,000 lumens on
know.
the neck.
Well, they got to compete, right? I mean, they're trying, people are saying, "Hey, I'm going to build a wall because I want, 400, 600, 1,000 nits."
I'm looking for the
HDR.
contrast. I'm not seeing where they're listing contrast here. Here we go. Contrast ratio
5 million.
up to that's
I'm
turning
doing
the
one.
laser completely off, right? So
Yeah.
that's not.
Yeah.
I don't think that can be correct. No, I mean, 5 million.
You
to
got to
one.
you always got to
Yeah,
look for the
no,
real
that's-
stuff, right? I mean, that's the same as
that's
color
all.
space.
That's dynamic, though. That's
Right.
Off to on.
That's the key word. That's the marketing thing.
Right.
That's which relatively that's good if it is truly good at the HDR, their dynamic, their tone map, their whatever friggin' thing.
Yep.
It man, I want to see it. This is probably the thing I want to see the most.
I'll spend some time on that because that's, I mean, like you said, it's Epson's been on a price favorite for years with people, right?
Correct.
You get the most lumens out of it, you get this and that. Other people will, of course, if you're in a Sony or JVC camp, you automatically start talking about lumens versus pixel shift. But as you can start getting into some of these, I mean, it's not an inexpensive product, but you're definitely getting a lot out of it because you're still in a Sony range. You're still talking about 2,500 lumens. Which if you're in a black room and you're fully light controlled, is probably fine in all reality. But if you are in a media room or you're in kind of a shared space, then it becomes a problem. You want those extra lumens to be able to combat any light that's bleeding into the room. So
Yeah, let
So it looks
us
like
know,
here's
let
the-
us know in the comments what you think about this new Epson lineup.
Yeah.
Is Epson now an option for you if you're looking into getting a new projector or replacing an existing one? Do you
Are
find
these
it
guys going to be
convincing?
at CEDIA?
I think so.
I would guess. I would
I
guess
think
so.
so.
They
I-
usually have a space.
Yeah.
I want to say they do some stuff off the floor, so like in kind of the surrounding
like
conference rooms or
surrounding, yeah.
downstairs.
So this looks like the 4 different lenses:
'Cause I
ultra
think they were
short throw.
downstairs. They were downstairs last year in one of those rooms with the gaming, with the racing.
Yeah, in one of
scene.
the conference rooms
Yeah.
near by the
Yeah.
signups and stuff.
Yep.
So now, Don, did you say? So are you coming out to CEDIA or are you not? This year?
No, unfortunately, I can't make it. My wife, my son just started, new school, kindergarten,
Sure.
and stuff like
Yep.
that. I'm moving my office with the company that I work for, and then on top of that, my wife is also starting a new job too. So, just
Totally
I
get
wouldn't be able to. I would love to. I definitely dropped a lot of hints.
I just this week.
Swatting your hits away.
That's right. Well, I was talking, like I said, Joe's over here right before I hopped on. and he is out on Friday and flying out on Saturday. I mean, it's at that point where you literally could just try to sleep. So,
So looks like this
in
is
the
going to
lobby.
support. Looks like this is
But
going to support anamorphic lenses now, and then you also got the option down here. It's got 4 different lenses: the ultra short throw, middle throw,
Sure.
and then yeah, that's going to be interesting to look at. Like you said, there are some interchangeable lenses, Paul. I did see that. Let's take a look at this. The big boy here. Let's take a look at this one. See what it says. This I know, Brett. You were talking about, I think I heard you talking to DJ possibly about Barco or something like that. Going into your theater, but this could be a game changer for you.
I agree, and we may have talked about or Christy at the show, or and Barco was in the booth last year. I don't. In all reality, my room will be 10 foot wide by let's call it 18, 20 feet deep. So my screen can't go past 120 inch, or even 110 inch wide. I don't have that much screen room. So I'm assuming I'm going to be more into JVC or a Sony 6000 or, something in that area. Versus Barco or Christie. I think they're great for what they do. I just don't. I
think they're best on a larger screen. If you have a 150 or something, the 200.
Yeah. I was talking with one of the guys the other day, on the Christie side, and it's like some of the cool stuff that I don't know. We'd have to look in this one a little bit more, but like Rec 2020 is is kind of the color space, right? And pretty much all manufacturers on the projector side haven't been able to get there yet, and Christie can. And so again, you're paying more for it, but some of those items in there are pretty cool. But as I was chatting with the guys, I'm like, it's probably a little out of my price range, or at least right now. What I want to be able to do, and what I am going to build though, is as I do my room, I want to be able to do comparisons in it. Right. So objective comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually going to build the room to be able to set up 2 LCRs. I'm less worried about the side surrounds and the Atmos, because, matching them is not as important as having matched, in my mind, a front stage. Right. And so what I want to be like, put brands head to head. Again, not to bash on one, because we all have our personal favorites, but to be able to show some measurements on them and be able to show those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And in the back, I'm basically a 3 foot deep, space kind of walling off. The other side will be a gaming theater, and then this will be the main theater. So it'll be 3 feet deep, filled with, acoustic products to be able to deaden the noise going out to the house. But also have space for projectors. And I'm trying to figure out, I'll either stack them so that, because most of these have enough shift to be able to, stack them and do one up and down to kind of see it. Or what I may do is actually build a platform that can actually slide left and right, so that they can actually slide dead center into place. So that's where, I'd love to play with something like this, and be able to show it against the, JVCs, which really dominated, any discussions in the projection side for most people, for years. But like you guys are saying, you look at these lumens, and it's, LCD laser and, HDR. The question would be on my mind, and Paul, you were saying this because, it's great to have the HDR in there. It's always just a math problem of, that versus a lower cost projector, and then add a lumen to your core, right? And so I think, the thing that I'd love to see is not just the HDR, badge from a marketing perspective, but what does that actually look like, right? And I think that's where we have to see it.
Yep. Does it truly tone map efficiently? Yeah. It's like
and obviously with the projector, to get the black floors and stuff like that, you got to be able to turn this laser on and off, right? Yep. So to be able to get to be able to achieve, OLED type of blacks, right? So,
Yeah.
Going from 10,000, this one's also saying, what does it say, 5 million to 1 also for the dynamic range
You
for
can get too much higher than
10,000 lumens, which as you increase your brightness, it's tough to keep that black
that
for
black,
low and the white balance high, right? So when you're calibrating your projector, same thing. If you want more brightness, well, you're going to be affecting your black level, right? Normally, right?
Yeah, you have to give up. Yeah, you have to give up something. I mean, even
there's always a trade-off.
Even the Christies don't
Yep.
touch a JVC in black levels,
Right?
Not even
Correct.
close. But
until you get to an eclipse, that eclipse is
The eclipse or the
pretty darn
griffin,
impressive.
the griffin and the eclipse.
I
The
don't
Griffin,
know, man.
yeah.
I've seen some
That thing
pretty.
is darkness in
I-
itself.
But-
Granted, they velveted the whole room.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
2 years ago, when I got to see that eclipse, and we did
Yeah,
demo after hours, so it was really cool because
yeah.
we got to sit like an hour talking about it. And I had Keith Yates and Andrew from KYD.
I'd have to see them I'd have to see them side by side, because that's the thing.
And
It's
fair enough, but
it's all relative, right? Because if you have
Yep.
50,000 lumens, well, fuck, a white wall looks black. It's like, oh, well, yeah, that's perfect black levels. If you're, if you have a 50,000 lumen, bulb shining on you. So, it's all relative. So,
Yep.
Yeah, this was definitely a major announcement from Epson. I was
No doubt. I try to always be objective, so I'm not a fanboy of any brand. I always want to see what they can do. So I love this. I think it's a smart move. They're
it is.
They're upping the cost, but and the quality on this to compete with the JVCs and the rest. And if you're always going to get the fanboys that are like, no, I'm never going to look at it, JVC for life kind of stuff. But
Nothing wrong with that.
I think this solves a lot of needs.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, you're talking 10,000 lumens. You can play that thing during the day, man. I mean, you can have open windows and this thing not wash out, right? So it's
like I said, man, you're getting Christie level. Lumens there.
And that's a GTZ 380 on the Sony side, right? That's
exactly for a tenth of the cost.
I'm guessing a lens costs you an extra $8 to $10,000 though, right? So you're probably looking at 40. You're at 40 instead of 30, 40, but still
with taxes you're paying $40,000.
That's 40 versus 100, right?
Let me see if I can find out how much a lens is.
So
a Griffin will run you like 95 to 100, so it's 80 for the unit, and then again another 15, 20 for the lens. So
I don't know that the lenses are as expensive because the glass is not near as big on the Epsons.
Sure.
So I'm just looking at, it says Epson. Let me see. It's looking like 17. So there's an Epson lens here. Let me make sure.
But it also depends on, it depends on what you need, right? Like if you're trying to do a 300 or a 400 inch screen, or you're trying to do 16 by 9, so the price of those lenses they vary. But that you have the capability of this. This is prosumer options at consumer prices. Now, relative, bougie consumers, if this isn't any,
that's still 30, 35 for a projector. That's
it's still more than my car. I have more money in motorcycles than I do. My car is like, dude,
that's right. Car, that's transportation. It's the fun stuff.
My car, so it's like the cheapest thing. I have more money in my theater than I do in my vehicle.
So if this is correct, we're looking at $2,000 for a lens.
Oh, that's not bad at all then.
Yeah.
Middle zoom lens.
Outdoor tax here in the 35,
like $3,000 to $5,000 for their lenses, but it's
Wait, how are those lenses already in the market? Like,
Well, no. Well, that's what they did.
Okay, I guess these are older lenses model.
Or
these
commercial.
These lenses have existed in their
Right.
pro
Commercial side.
line for
Oh, okay, so
years
they
for
just-
displays, and this is now they're trickled down the projector to be compatible with these lenses.
Yep.
So, yeah, these are for your sports
And
bar,
that's-
for your, your big
Yeah.
moves
I mean,
and
that's
stuff.
the same as that's the Christie store in it too, right? Most of the businesses, they're doing, conference, huge conference centers and convention centers and
Yes. So they have them at
auditoriums.
all our casinos. They have them at all our,
Yep.
any big money, big venue type.
Yeah, a lot of government stuff. I had a buddy of mine that I used to work with a long time ago.
There's one
worked for Christie
downtown
on
in
the
our
government
area
side.
that if it's cloudy and
Okay.
it's outside,
Yeah.
like legitimately outside. Now, if the sun's shining on the screen, yeah, okay. But
Sure.
if once it's like 7 o'clock or the sun's just barely going down,
Yeah.
that, you can see that thing like bright as anything, and it's
that's
a huge. We're talking 100-foot fucking screen.
Yeah.
This isn't a.
and when you look at those, I mean, generally speaking, Christie's are all like the 40 mapping projectors. When they're putting them up buildings that are a couple 100 feet tall, and that's all Christie. There's not too many others that can do it. And they all require these lenses. So yeah, now they just kind of, hey, we're going to make a residential version. And that's what I like about those brands. Not to pitch into anyone in particular, but when you get those brands that are doing the heavy duty commercial stuff, like cannot fail kind of stuff, 5.9s on all the time. I at least like the fact that, I expect and seem to be, that they do it, that you get that same reliability on the consumer side, on the residential side. And so, but again, that's what Epson, Epson on the consumer side for us, they're either making a ton of money building, the $600, Dell type projector at Office Depot, or they're doing huge commercial stuff. And, our hobby is kind of a small piece in the middle, right?
Tiny. Yeah, they've always been Soho, like Epson. Like, they're not big. They've never been big commercial. They will do like your B-dubs and most of, stuff like that. That's where you see theirs as far as their pro lines that are like, $20,000 or whatever that. But yeah, I'm glad to see this trickle down, and the QB, I mean, if you have less than a 300-inch screen, you don't need the 10,000. I mean, like, Jesus.
Did you guys see this lens that I put up? Did you see the lens that I had up? I was on the pages, so check out this. Check this out. I pop this back up. So this is a middle zoom lens, and it supports screens from 50 inches to 1,000 inches.
That's what we were just talking about. It's like, dude, they're doing this stuff on buildings. That's the only reason. Like, these lenses. Oh yeah, these lenses have been. They're perfect. The lenses are already a perfection. They just said, "Oh well, let's make a consumer."
$2,200 plus the 25,000 to get you a 10,000.
Yeah,
10,000 lumen projector.
I'm not like poking at anything, but it's like, it's like just off the cuff. I was like, holy crap, that's like they're marketing to be a Christie killer. You're getting Christie level brightness and ability.
I mean, look, once people see these in the wild, this could be a Sony killer. This could be a JVC killer.
This could be at this point.
Exactly.
If you're wanting those,
an Epson killer.
As long as the contrast levels are really
all dependent on their HDR tone, and if it has to be
the tone mapping, not so much, because Sony doesn't have a tone mapping.
Sony don't care about that. It's not contrast.
Yeah, but
it's how it's built. I mean, look, coming from the Kaleidoscape side, we had people talking for years about wanting like the Strato V product, right? Something with HDR compatibility, and the answer was always, who cares? It's a projector,
right?
It can't get to the nits. It can't get to the to the settings to it.
I run SDR. on my
Yeah,
projector.
I mean,
It's
and
because
that's what
Well,
most people are doing, right?
science,
and if you want to know the truth,
denotes it doesn't do HDR, but
do you not know that your video processors, your Mad VR and your Lumagen are dropping it back down to SDR anyway?
Yeah, that's how they
don't know
tone
that.
map, right?
So I mean, the
Don't
Mad
tell
VR can tone map in HDR, but my Lumagen drops it back down in the SDR container.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's all about the picture quality, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
what am I getting out of this?
And
How does
the
this look?
immersion it is for me.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
care about
again,
HDR on that.
it's no different than I got to see Chris Deering. He did Joe's projector. I don't know, a couple months back, and so I was there while he did it. And just looking at the difference before and after, and hearing it from Joe as well. But you can see a difference. There's a difference in all these things. It's just which one's going to give you the biggest bang for the buck, right? Which is going to help you get the most out of your screen or the most out of the screen size or the,
for us poor folks. But some people are just, hey, I want something that can do anything I want. Okay,
Sure.
Here's the Christie. Like Ryan, he has the Christie projector in what is equivalent to a, I forgot, but it's not that big. His room is literally like
no, it's not big for all the stuff that's in there.
No, not at all. I mean, good God, his
subwoofers
as tall as his damn ceiling.
Back wall.
That's the same. I mean, that's just the same as Scott.
It is an amazing theater. It is. I really like his new setup. It really is. I mean, it's.
I want to see it. I want to see it next year. This last year at M-Wave, I came in right at the last minute. I came in and left pretty quick because I was teaching classes the whole time, right? And so I think I ended up teaching four courses while I was there, and so I didn't get to go out to Ryan's stuff. But I want to check it out next year because and I know Matt Trinkline over at Storm was there during the show and was even further tweaking it. I think after the last day of the show. And so, you put those black swans with a Storm processor and all the subs and, and a huge projector and all this stuff.
Pretty nice. I mean, I liked it. It was good. It was enjoyable. And
that's right. Well, it shows you, and it shows you reference, right? I mean, that's truly the best. Unfortunately, not everybody can afford that, and that's okay. Now you still have a reference to grade from, and to figure out what's important to you, right?
Yep, exactly. Yep, for sure.
Well, look, so what future plans? What are you looking at speaker wise for your theater, Brett? What's in your plans for processor? What's in your plans for speakers, and and what type of setup is it going to be? 9.2, 9.17. What do you have on the horizon?
There will be no 17s in there.
Got that train of money.
So the room, the room I have in myself. So like I said, as soon as I get back from CEDIA, because I've been kind of swamped and stuff. As soon as I get back from CEDIA, I'm going to start the physical build. But basically, what I have is this space right off of kind of this area that I'm in right now. So I've got this side where I do most of my work. It's got 3 screens. And then over behind me that way, I have kind of my, as I'm doing voiceovers for trainings and things like that. And that's kind of I had to buy my first desktop in years just because the amount of video quantity that I was putting through it. And then through this door, it's actually a full fire door. So it's got the 6-8 inch. So I'm going to end up padding into that. And then when you go into the area, it's only about 11 foot wide, just short of it, actually. But it's more than 40, 45 feet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little gaming area. And then on the front half of it, I'm going to build a wall, and then we'll do double doors on it. So I can get about 3 feet deep in there, house the projector, and again, try to block out some of that noise. I'm going to take out all the sheetrock, and I'm going to move that 2 feet back because it's
So let me clarify something real quick, because I've already seen the gauntlet drop and the challenge already. So
okay.
Ike decided to chime off in the chat here that Brett will be done before I will be. So are you hiring somebody to do this? Is this
No, I'm doing it myself.
You're going to do everything yourself. Build
Well,
out everything.
So yes, I mean I will literally be putting sticks up and everything else to build my walls.
That even makes it worse, man, because you still be done.
Oh, I remember meeting Don before he built his business, before he did all the other stuff. We were talking about his theater being built.
You know, I thought of a segment on this podcast that we need an hour of home theater real build. Like,
Yep.
we need to just cut and be like, dude, put your camera up, secondary camera, and at whatever 9:30.
I've been telling
it's
Dawn
like
we should
you go
do
hang
that.
it one piece of drywall, and people get to see the legit.
Let's do it.
Nobody
I mean,
wants to
tell
see
him,
me hang a
do
piece
a
of
live
damn
stream.
drywall, man.
We should do a live stream of him building it.
But you know, it is one of those things where, so what I'm going to try to do in there, Paul, is I am going to try to document as much as I can. And, you know, you can run through it and you can speed through it and you can do whatever. And I'm not going to show, you know, it's not going to be one for one running through, you know, 3 months worth of build.
People do that. Yeah. I'm just like,
I don't know how either. But
I'm like,
you know,
dude,
again,
once I start something,
memory cards
in.
are easy enough and power is easy enough that I can throw a camera. You know, I'll probably just drop a 360 camera kind of up on the ceiling of the room, and then maybe, you know, something else going in there, and I'll just have it run. Because I want to be able to show people, because I always in the forums are people asking questions about acoustics and how do you do this and where do you get your placement and how many speakers and where. And so that's where I want to document it, where I can at least show, like, here's a 45-second clip as we're picking this, and here's why we do this. You know, or run you through, you know, again, here's a 3 months, you know, quickly. I always like kind of seeing that stuff. It's fun to watch, you know, everybody moving around and, you know.
So is there any part you're going to contract out? Are you going to contract out the drywall? Are you going to contract
No,
out
I'm going to try to do it
electrical?
all myself. What I am doing is I'm actually pulling, you know, there's drywall in the room right now because the room is there.
Okay.
I'm actually going to cut that drywall out.
So his drywall's already hung, so he's already ahead of me.
No, yeah, there you go. But I'm cutting it all out. I'm going to push it back 2 feet so that I can create a deeper cavity, because I've got like space on the sides because the roof pitches in that area. And then I'm gonna do a cloth so that I can get through. You know, so I want to try to learn how to do you know, cloth walls and things like that. So I'm going to use my system to do that. So
are you going to put the drywall back up, or are you just going to insulate and put cloth over?
Yes, there will be drywall behind it, and there will be acoustic material behind that, and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So, but what I want to do, because my wall to wall is 2 feet, right? So if you end up putting acoustics and speakers and all this and that, I'm not going to have enough room or distance from the seat to the wall. So I'm going to actually put the, you know, the speakers and acoustics will all be kind of behind the cloth wall. You got to see that, like, at Elliston's place, right? When we did the videos in there, where, you know, so that same kind of thought process. And then I'm going to build a baffle wall. Now I am more for fun, but perspective. I'm calling in a few favors. So I'm going to chat with Matt Pose and Gramani, and I'm going to chat with, you know, the KYD group and some of these, just to kind of give them even a voice and showing stuff, but showing real life stuff. Right. So, you know, I've kind of said, like, they don't have to design my whole theater for me, but like, Andrew, who works with Keith Yates, right? I mean, they design some of the best systems in the world. Right. You know, but he does baffle walls like amazing. I've been there and watched how he kind of looks at it, and, you know, he builds a baffle wall with the same level of care as like a Bowers and Wilkins 800 series speaker, you know, with just all these support struts and everything else in there. Yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, he puts all this amazing work in there. I think they should just be selling baffle wall designs, you know, to help those of us that, build it, but, you know, show me what I need to build. And, you know, and that's worth, you know, a couple grand, to build an amazing baffle wall. And so, so I'm going to try to look at bringing a little bit of that in, but no, my goal, is to do it. You know, I'll call over, Joe Klesnick or, somebody local that wants to kind of play around with me and, cause it's always fun, to just kind of help put stuff up. But yeah, no, my goal is to build the walls myself and any drywall that needs to be done and all the acoustics and everything from that perspective. So that'll be the room, but I really want to build a, soundproof gets tossed around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough to do, but I want to make something that is as as soundproof as possible, as acoustically enclosed, so that if the room is built right, and that's a lot of what I want to be able to show, if the room is built right, you can put a variety of different speakers in there, even less expensive speakers, and get an amazing playback out of it versus having very expensive speakers in a room that's frankly crap and and reflecting too much and this and that, and you're not happy with it. Because that's where I always say, when everybody's got an opinion and an ear, and it also depends on your hearing level and all that, but when people are like, oh, this speaker is too bright and this one is too this and that, it's like they should all be accurate. The point is to duplicate the music and the way it was recorded, right? Not to impart anything new. And I'll watch people like, hey, this amp, or I only use this amp with these speakers. And I'm like, should be able to use whatever win. The or does this and that. It shouldn't impart any flavor to to what you're listening to. So
yeah.
Anyways,
so what was the layout going to be? It was going to be. You said you're in not a huge room. So what's the speaker layout going to be? Is it going to be 9
so
or 7?
It will. So it may be 7.4, so 7.4.4, or 9.4.4. I'm a big, now I may end up stacking some subs or doing something else afterwards, but what I want to do, what's up? It is Matt Blair. But what I want to be able to do is to be able to show, like, I'm going to actually do measurements with 1 sub in the room, and then I'm going to do measurements with 2 subs in the room. And then I'm going to do measurements. I don't know if it'll be 3 or if I'll jump to 4, but the point being, again, how do you get rid of modes? How important is that? Everybody that I watch, and they'll have 8 subs up in front, and that's the only place that they're at. Like, guaranteed you've got, nulls and peaks sitting in that room. So what I really want to be able to show is like, hey, 4 smaller subs, can you get away with 4 less expensive subs versus, 1 or 2 big, huge subs? And what is the difference going to be? So I want to be able to show a lot of that in there, and that's how I'm kind of building the room to be able to do different types of demos. But going into the initial question, so that's kind of the room in itself. Speaker wise, I haven't chosen. Processor wise, I did pick up after M-Wave. I actually grabbed one of the ISP Mark IIIs from Storm. I got to see it in play last year, and I got to see.
That's not the one that has the Dante, does it?
It does.
Oh, so okay, very good.
So it's not the so the Evo, so there's a line that's only Dante, right? Like it's only digital.
Right.
This one,
that's the one Germani did last year at CEDIA, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this one, in their ISP Mark III, so it's their flagship piece, but basically it has 16 or 20. I think it's kind of like a turn-off where you can add the extra piece to get the extra 4 channels, but 16 XLR cables, or ports going out for analog outputs to whatever amplifier speaker you want. But then it also has Dante enabled into it. And it's the only processor that actually has direct ART. So like the full direct, not just direct live and things like that. So ART goes even a step further. And so I was talking with them last year, and since I want to be able to kind of A/B different systems, the idea is literally with a push of a button, so you can assign any of those 30 channels or 32 channels to anywhere you want. So what's really kind of cool, like in my setup, is I can take that processor that'll sit in a rack. I could have my 9.4.4 because it's a small room, so I don't think you need too much more than that. But that's 8, so that's 17 channels into it. I still have the other channels, so I'm gonna actually run my gaming home theater room, which might be smaller, like 5 742 or something, or 742, but it's again, it's an even smaller room. But they run off the same processor.
Right.
And so since I won't be in my gaming room and the theater at the same time, you get all the benefits, all the processing capabilities, and you literally just hit a button and it's done. It's like owning
and I
two
think the
very
Storm can do three different rooms, right?
Yep.
To where,
Yep.
yeah. So like same thing with me. That's a reason I was looking at the Storm also.
Yeah.
Is because I have a living room set up.
Yep.
I'm gonna have like a game set up, kind of like
Yeah.
you, and then I'll have my regular theater. So yeah, I
Yep.
was looking at it for the same exact reasons as that.
Yeah. And so, so same thing, like right now before I build the theater, my Storm's downstairs. So like right now I'm running it, my family room system, up the Theory audio products. So, Theory's had some great stuff. I've heard them at those. And again, they're rooted in science and cool product.
Pro level speakers there. Yeah.
Yeah, but even in this case, I'm going with their Theory audio line, right? So they do their speakers like you might put into a theater, and they're definitely on my list. My family room, where I needed something, smaller and kind of fits with the room, I'm actually doing their in-wall, so an IW25. And so there's a controller with an amplifier, and so it's effectively a matched amplified speaker, if you want to call it, but the amps in the in its own controller and amplifier, similar to what Grimani does. And so those are going in, but those are Dante enabled amps as well in their controller. So the idea is, even though that's downstairs and across the other side of my house, and my Storm processor will be upstairs at the other end, right outside of my theater. That Storm can control that room too.
Just run the cat cable, right?
Yeah, it's just cat cable. I mean, it's again, it's basic of every of every home install nowadays. And so with just a cat cable, I can bring it in, and then you just put a little network switch down there to run one cable to each amplifier. In this case, that's 3 of them. So 2 4 channels, and then a big 4 channel for the subwoofers. And that's it. And it's got great DSP control on it, and it's an efficient amplifier, so it's all really kind of small, in size, so it doesn't take up a whole bunch of rack space or kick out a ton of heat. And then I can run my Storm with it, or I'll try some other processors, right, when we want to be able to compare. So there you go. Matt's saying Theory is amazing. Yeah, I've been super impressed. I never really, I've done the demos and everything else. I didn't know them. A lot of brands I've known for years, and the people that are there. But Paul Hales has been in the industry forever, and worked for multiple big companies. And then, and his stuff it sounds great. It's high SPL.
I think that home theater dude, I think he's putting Theory audio in also.
He is. I saw that the other day. So, so that is absolutely what's going into, Chris Mata's place. So, so I'm impressed with that. I'm definitely, that's going in. I've already bought it. That's going into the family room kind of media room system. And then in the theater, pro audio side, so they're bigger, more pro theater speakers, are definitely a contender. Grimani speakers are a contender. Like I said, I definitely, that's why I was looking at the JTR stuff the other day, because I think, again, their subwoofers get great, reviews, and the forums love them, and and I want to be able to show various types of products. So like I said, so I'm open to that. Obviously, I've been a Bowers Wilkins fan. They make like their HT 700 series, which are effectively the same components as their 700 or 800 series. $30,000, a pair of speakers, but in black boxes, so they're fairly, a fair amount less expensive. But really, I want speakers that measure well and sound good.
So are you looking to do more in wall or architectural than?
Well, I can do both. So because I can put a box, because they'll sit behind cloth walls, so you won't, just like a acoustically transparent screen, you won't see anything. So you give me a 3-foot back box, and I can still put that in there, and it's going to be flush, and you're never going to see it. So so I have no issues. Now I'm happy to put, because there's benefits to that, as it comes to reflectance, in the walls behind you. But yeah, no, I'm assuming, if do in walls, like even the theories down. Every in wall for me to do it has to have a back box and has
Right.
to have a good solid box. I know, again, I've been in the industry long enough. I understand infinite baffles and using the channel in the stud bay to to hold that. But the reality is, it's still creating it's creating more noise. You're reflecting,
Yeah, if you're
that
trying to
sound on the.
soundproof without a back box, you're going to be in trouble.
It just doesn't work, right? Whereas like the theories are like steel on the back. I mean, it's nuts. And so just like a regular tower speaker or a bookshelf speaker, if I do an in-wall, it has to have a built-in back box or some way of being able to accomplish that. But yeah, this room can fit towers, it can fit whatever we want in it. So and then same thing with the ceiling. It's a little bit lower. That's my issue, is it's 8 foot in the center, but then it quickly tapers down, and then it goes down to like 6.5 feet. So that's my biggest issue. I don't even know if I can get a second row in there, because by the time I drop a 10-inch riser and then another set, I don't want people to be climbing around. And so it may be 3 seats or 4 seats in the front, and then just a bar section in the back. Because there's not many of us. I memean, even just my family is 3 people. People come over, we can rotate people around or do whatever else, and then throw some bean bags up front. If my daughter wants to bring some friends over, stuff like that. So we'll see. I'd love to get 6 seats in there, but I'm just cautious of being so close to the ceilings, at the same time. So
Yeah.
So yeah. So like I said, we'll try a few different things, and like I said, I want to be able to try different fronts. So that I can, again, build some content off of that to be able to show what the differences are between this brand and that brand in an objective way. And then
I'm doing kind of the same thing with mine, because obviously I'm a dealer. So I want to put a drop down screen. I want to have a permanent screen. I want to have 2 projectors to be able to toggle back and forth. And then I even talked to Martin Logan about, possibly, in walls versus bookshelves, and just kind of stagger them right next to each other, kind of like you're talking about. So
exactly right. Neither one gets the prime spot, but they're tight enough that it doesn't really matter, right? And and again, that's what DSP correction and room correction and acoustics and all those things fix.
Exactly.
So no, I love it. Now, what do you know? So obviously, like you said, you might put a couple brands in, but what are you leaning towards now?
So right now I have the 60 XTIs, the older Martin Logan ribbon tweeter. It's the same tweeter and the same aluminum woofer in every speaker. So I have the 30.
How tall you want?
Yep. Yeah. So I have the 35s, the 60. 65 XTIs for the towers, and then I have bookshelves all around, and then I have their HT series, which has the same woofer, same 2-inch ribbon tweeter for Atmos, 6 Atmos. So yeah, so that's the main. That's what I'm doing for the main. I'm still looking to pick up another brand. I'm looking at, because I like ribbon tweeters. I've kind of talked to RBH a little bit, so see maybe if I can become a dealer for them. I've also talked to SVS. So, I haven't really, I don't really want to, I don't want to bring anybody else on until I actually finish everything.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, that's why I'm not picking out exactly what I'm putting in yet, right? But I know I'll be talking with people at CEDIA, because, I want to hear the demos, same as you guys, same as everybody were. I want to hear them live. Demo rooms aren't always the best, to be fair. And if you're in just a booth, even less so, because you're out in the open. But being able to hear kind of that, how they sound and everything else, and a lot of the good brands, again, even though Harman on the JBL side, they all do a good job of putting some demos together. So I'm going to kind of take a look at that, see what my first speakers are, but I expect that I'll kind of rotate them around. And then kind of go from there. But there's so many good brands. If you're a ribbon guy, Wisdom does a great job as well, and tends to be more of an industry favorite. So again, kind of like JTR on the other side, kind of being direct. A lot of dealers like them, but yeah.
So Matt brings up a good point here. He says he had this conversation with about multiple speakers in the same room. He said if you got to leave the amps on,
Sure,
or
for the other side as well. So the beauty. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Don.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So I was going to say the beauty on the Storm side is that it's able to just immediately switch between different systems. So yes, the amplifiers would still be on, but I can actually have a set of digital amplifiers running one system. So I want to be able to show like digital versus analog, AB versus D, all those kinds of things where I can actually just switch them. And that's why I went with the Storm. Like it's a big processor for, one theater room my size, like no doubt. But I wanted something that could do the 3 different rooms and could switch easily between different systems where I can literally I don't need a speaker selector box. I don't need all those things that introduce noise and other issues.
And that's exactly what they did at M-Wave. They used the Storm processor to do all the switching with the speaker comparison. So it was perfect.
So that's really where I went with them. Again, I've been a big Trinoff fan. They're all great brands, right? And so Dave Pedigo and all the guys over there, John Heron, who I love, multiple shows with him in the past. And so they're all great guys, and Trinoff is a great product. I just, they haven't been able to do a Dante multi, a full system in Dante yet. They can do 2-channel, but even this year at CEDIA for a few years, and they want to get it right. Totally respect that. And not using Dante is still great, for what they do. But that's where I looked at Storm and I'm like, the stuff that they're doing is really cool. The way that they partnered with Dirac, it's not 2 guys in their division kind of creating, and nothing against waveforming or any, receivers, DSP or anything like that. It's just, usually it's just a couple guys in that area working on it, right? If you kind of work on it, they're using Dirac. I mean, it's a much larger company doing cars, doing, other kinds of things, kind of like we were talking about the commercial aspects of brands before, and get that much more help, and again, I think waveforming works well. As I've seen doing Grimani stuff, 4 subs in a room, properly time aligned and phase aligned, is the same thing. It's all doing the same thing, just trying to get rid of modes, right? So, my thing is, all things generally equal, I think the Dante capability, the multi-room switching, all the stuff that Storm processor can do, is really a phenomenal piece for for the money in there. And then hopefully someday I'll drop a Trinov in there and we'll kind of put them a little head to head and
put them head to head,
and see how they do there too, right? So
when I win the lottery, that's what I want to do, just to compare.
Yeah, no doubt.
I want to build a warehouse and just compare everything, right? So
that's right. I'm gonna have Matt Blair just send me over a processor and some speakers, Matt. I'll only borrow them for like 9 to 10 months, I promise, and then I'll send them back to you.
So Matt says, I'm ready to book my ticket. Just let me camp in your backyard. I'll bring my own tent.
Hey, Matt, I mean, Matt. So Matt and I know each other from all the way back, like in Kaleidoscape, right? So, last couple of years, same as you, Don, same as Ike, same as everybody. So, but no, I mean, Matt and I chat all the time about stuff, and as he's built up his stuff, I won't overstate in what but like I've tried to support him in all of that. He knows I try to support him as he picked up Kaleidoscape as a brand and, and the trainings and all the stuff that I do. So, just like you and your business, like I like to see good people succeed. So,
just if you guys haven't checked it out, that's Home Theater Hub number 27. Brolic Media. So go ahead and go back through the archives there on the lives. We go through Matt's theater, and he shows off all of his fantastic equipment that he's putting in there and stuff that he's working on.
Which changes yearly.
That is true.
Every time I look at him, I see a new post like, oh, I'm redoing this theater and we're putting in this stuff. And I mean, that's what we do, right? For a living, it's right? A little bit easier for us.
That's what makes it a hobby. Otherwise, it would just be a purchase.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So, but no, I love Matt and his family and everything they do. Unfortunately, they're not swinging out. They're going to be on a cruise. Evidently, they thought that was better. Oh, look at that. Hey, I appreciate it, Matt.
Hope we have a good theater in that cruise, in that ship. You know?
Right. That's what maybe you can make a deal, redo their theater for them while you're out there. Tell them how it sucks. You know,
It's like, man,
make money.
I could
going to
make
the
this stinking theater sound way better.
That's right. That's right. You know, we'll go next port in. I'll have the Focals or Sonos or Fabers and whatever he's running through right now. We'll get him at the next port. So, but yeah, no, like I said, that's much of my stuff, just like Matt's saying. So thank you. I just want to help the industry. It's good on all sides. It helps small businesses to build a healthy business. It helps consumers because when you go in there, I expect that the person that I'm going to, if I'm buying my product there and spending my hard-earned dollar, no matter what level that is, to know more than I do. And be able
That's
to help
tough to find these days.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough to find these days, unfortunately. You go to talk to somebody about something and they know less than you do, and you just kind of
because then you're like, well, yeah, I can just buy it online, right? Like you're trying to convince me why I'm not buying this stuff on Amazon, and it's like, and you're not doing a good job because if I'm spending this, granted, I'm passionate about it as a hobby, but if I know more about it than the sales guy does, or I got to listen to a product that nobody else got to because I was over at Scott's house or I was over at your place or my place, or it's like, yeah, it rubs me the wrong way because I've been in the industry 25 years and manufacturers used to spend a lot of money training us to make sure that we knew everything about. I mean, I go back to the rear projection TV days, right, and Pronto remotes. But we used to get trained on it properly. And so I'm fighting really hard to bring that back, on my business side. And, I've got a couple articles that are coming out after CEDIA. So we'll have to talk about those afterwards. But, like I said, I'm trying really hard to get manufacturers to understand the importance of education, both for consumers and for integrators. And so again, if you're talking to any of those brands, be it Dawn on your side as an integrator or consumers that have those relationships, not that I'm begging for business on it, but talk about it, make sure that they understand the importance of training and that there's businesses like mine that are, again, small businesses that are just passionate about this stuff, that donate a lot of my time, that want to be able to create better trainings for those types of industries, especially for the higher end stuff. You deserve to kind of understand. We're just talking about Epson, right? And Epson versus, what does contrast ratio mean, and what's the real numbers versus the marketing numbers.
Right.
And if you're a DIY guy, what I want to be able to do is be able to say like, hey, here's a Denon 3800. I'm actually going to show you step by step how to program it. Or here's a Storm processor. I'm going to go step by step and walk you through how to do a full direct art. Or a Chernoff waveforming. And that's really what I want to be able to do is create those trainings that consumers can benefit off of. So if you're a DIY guy, but we all need a little help sometimes, then you have, real trainings, not some video of somebody just saying that.
Yeah, look, Brett, we definitely appreciate you joining. Those of you that have not heard, Brett has bumped his head and he's given away a $4,000 value trip to CEDIA for one special guest. Keep paying for the hotel, paying for the flight. If you want to bring a significant other, you got to pay for the flight for that. But I mean,
that's right. But I will buy them dinner. I will buy them drinks.
He's going above and beyond here. So make sure you go over to Brett's channel. He's up to 691 subscribers. I think he picked up 7 or 8 subscribers since we started here. So
I appreciate it.
All expenses
and just be warned, if I win, he'll never offer drinks purchase. He'll be like, God damn,
I'm just bringing a cooler at that point, Paul. I'm gonna have a cooler there for us to sit down, and that's all we get, right? I'll definitely be hitting the liquor store because if you buy that stuff directly through CEDIA, oh my God, that stuff gets expensive.
Yeah, you do go for if you were trying to, keep me entertained. You'd be like, dude,
there we go. But
that little guy put away the alcohol.
So Brett, tell everybody. tell everybody how they can find you besides
Yeah.
Facnatics. Do you have any, for your market maker site and stuff like that?
Sure. So again, that's a little bit more on the dealer and manufacturer side, but absolutely, if you're in there and you need any help with training and online certifications or anything like that, that's the heart of my market maker business at mrktmkr.com. So market maker, no vowels. And that's kind of the more business side of it. And then all of my consumer stuff is on Facnatics, which you can find on YouTube. It doesn't have a website because it doesn't need it. It's all about creating video content and things like that. It's a newer site, so I appreciate any support. And then just like they're shown on here right now, if you search it up, you'll see that first video, expenses paid trip to CEDIA. Click on it. It's literally like a 1-minute video. I've got another short that I just made as well. It's got a QR code. You go on there, just name an email. No spam, no selling names, no nothing else. This is all just me wanting to support the communities. And yeah, I'm gonna fly somebody out, put them up in a hotel, and the biggest piece of it is we're gonna sit in sound room 4, which is $1 million home theater system, and we're gonna chill in there for 3 hours watching whatever cuts you want. I've been telling people, like, all you got to do is give me your demo list, and I will have them downloaded on the Kaleidoscape ahead of time, since internet sucks at those places. And we're just gonna enjoy, right? We're gonna talk about technology. We're gonna talk about the show floor. That's Friday night, and then Saturday, I'm gonna walk you around to all the cool booths, all the cool demos. If there's a brand that that you love, that's your favorite brand, I will make sure that we're meeting with people and that we spend time in that booth as well. And then I'll fly you back Saturday night, and you're home with all Sunday to do whatever you need to do and spend time with family and think about this amazing trip.
One thing that we got to work into this is whoever the winner is has to come on this show and talk about it.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
That's what we got to do. They got to.
I don't know who it is, so it's tough. But I'm like, I will. I'm going to make that a rule. It's going to be like in the fine print on there. By the way, I own your soul, and you're going to go on every home theater podcast that we that I can think of. But
no, seriously, this is a great thing that you're doing for the community. I mean, just fantastic, to fork this out on your own. And I know, look, we all own businesses. It'll be a tax write-off for you in the end, but it's still a great gesture for the community. And, we definitely appreciate you joining our show tonight. Also want to thank Scott again. If you haven't subscribed to Scott's channel, make sure you head on over to Scott Living It with Scott and Cat's podcast. Make sure you head on over there. Scott's doing some great things over there. He's up to almost 3,000 subscribers in a short time. So he's done really a great job with that. He's doing a great job over there. And thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks for Matt for joining in. I got to get up there to Baltimore, visit my mom, and then stop by your theater again, Matt, to see what you got going on over there. So, but listen, everyone, thank you. We got a good show lined up for you next week. Also, I'm not going to spoil it because, like I said, every time I mention something, something winds up messing up. But appreciate everyone joining, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah, and stay on the green room, Brett. Don't drop off.
Not a problem. And then real quick in there, so Richard made a comment asking about Class D amps versus AB. Big discussion, so obviously we're not going to hit it here. If you make a comment in any of my videos, I respond to every comment that goes on there. So if you ask the question in there, Richard, then I'm happy to talk about D versus AB, when you use them, and and what the benefits are for both.
So Paul, since you didn't talk a whole lot, give us a 1-minute synopsis on that.
Oh man. Well, Class D has a bad name because whenever they first came out, they were not as efficient, and they had a much higher noise floor, but us in the hobby used them for sub amplification still, and it was the best bang for the buck. With the technology now, there's I don't know that you would really be able to hear a difference, but purists, Class A amplification is your old school, essentially, power supplies, gigantic toroidal transformers, but in the reality, people didn't realize Class A is essentially the derivative of tube amps, actually, which you only get a few watts out of at best. But that is, your purest amplification, right? But if you're doing full range speakers, you need something that'll do bass. So then you're going to need the B side of that Class A B amplifier to kind of switch to a different power mode, if you would, and to give you that, extra 500 watts all of a sudden, because you ain't powering a subwoofer or 50 hertz or 80 hertz at 5 watts. You're just not going to do it. And Class Ds are basically we call them digital, but it's not really digital technically, but just the way that the it's kind of like Class H to me is even cooler nowadays because of the true switching of the power rails, and Class D is kind of like a first iteration of that in a way. It's just using the power more efficiently. Without getting super nerdy, but
one of them you can fry an egg on, and the other one not so much.
Yeah, and they're right. People that there's you can still buy a crappy Class D amplifier.
Sure,
but if you stick with the name brands, you're not going to know the difference. So that's where you get. I know Peavey still makes some pretty noisy Class D amplifiers, but that's for you're outside. You've got a 65 dB wind noise floor, so you're not hearing the hiss anyways, so it doesn't matter. So it's all perspective when it comes to that stuff. So, but without getting
sorry we missed that question a little bit earlier, Richard, but hopefully that'll sum it up a little bit for you without going too
best
depth
way is
into
just,
that.
try them out, but you got to be careful, because you don't want to go to someone that's selling a Class A B amplifier and ask them, oh, how does a D amplifier compare? Just like you don't want to go to a Class D amplifier and say, well, how does a AV compare? Because the D people are going to say, oh, well, those are so hot, inefficient. If you want to heat your room, blah, 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 and stuff like that. So,
totally agree. And they both have a place, and it all just kind of depends. So
I still have AV amps. I mean, just because of what I got.
And I have AB amps, but then my new theory one. So again, great product. They use Class D. Grimani, which is PowerSoft, uses Class D. So the abilities to add some extra DSP in there is, I think, what really differentiates it. And
that's true.
It gives you some better room control than
that's why they do some of the because you can add different stuff into it.
Yep. Well, listen, everyone, thank you for joining us again. Appreciate it. Appreciate Scott. Appreciate Brett and Matt. Thank you for being in the chat, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you, everyone else, for being in the chat, asking questions. If you have a topic that you would like for us to talk about, go ahead and send us an email, or even if you'd like to be a guest on the show, send us an email to hometheaterhublive@gmail.com.
Yep.
Right? All right.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Good night. Bye.
Bye, everybody.